Good evening, everybody. Welcome to America's Third Party. I'm David Sponheim, and this is Conspiracy Monday, a theme that we've been focusing on for the past probably 5 or 6 years. And we believe that it's an opportunity for you to discuss anything at all, whether you believe in aliens, whether you believe in the possibility that weather modification is going on right before our very eyes in the cities of America. Controlling climate patterns, you can say, is almost a truth now. It's a conspiracy fact. We've revealed enough about that to confirm that, in fact, they are spraying heavily with the intent to levitate carbon particles into the mesosphere. And we found this out through deep research and full reveal by the scientists. Problem is, they've never discussed it in the mainstream media. So anyone who talks about the dreaded chemtrail word is called a whack job. So we don't mind talking about that tonight or anything else that comes to mind. There's an increasing indication that Donald Trump seems to be unable to respond to the press on certain issues. One issue came up about the KKK endorsing Trump, and he didn't say he was against it. He didn't respond. He just allowed it to continue. And now he's gotten a lot of flack for that because he didn't object to it. All right. Well, it would be remiss of me to say that Trump has no knowledge of this, when in fact his father was arrested at a KKK rally in 1927. So, yeah, his father. So his connection to the KKK, I have no knowledge of. But his father's connection, I do have knowledge of. And his dad was arrested in 1927 at a KKK brawl with police, according to an old article in the New York Times that was discovered. You can check that out. Drudge has it. I've opened up another interesting story that had disappeared last week. I will always renounce the KKK. I will renounce white supremacists. I will renounce anybody who's an extremist. I'm a centrist. But we were looking for a New York Times article that had disappeared on the internet. It popped up again. This is something many of you don't know about. It's a helicopter crash that occurred. Donald Trump, his aides, his 3 aides that were top-notch people, financial advisors at the casinos that he was involved in, crashed right before they were to testify in front of the bankruptcy court on Resorts International. 5 people, including 3 high-level executives, Donald Trump's casinos. And he made a statement at the time saying, "These were 3 fabulous young men in the prime of their lives. No better human beings ever existed. We are deeply saddened by this devastating tragedy, and our hearts go out to their families." It is interesting to note that they weren't able to testify. And like one of the many 4 corporate bankruptcies Donald Trump managed to pull off, the witnesses weren't there to discuss it. They died. And there is a theory that he was going to be on that particular... Excuse me. There's a spider on my camera. He was going to be on that particular flight. I don't know if that's true, but there was a rumor he was going to be on it, and he just decided not to go. But that's an interesting tidbit you won't find in the media at all. So you just found a couple things out about Trump, to clarify where things are at. I'll take a look at that video, JPF. Trump's 4 bankruptcies formed 192 companies. Well, isn't that special? You got a positive twist on corporate bankruptcy. So it's okay to bankrupt companies, huh? And get away with it? Interesting. I've never had a bankruptcy, so I don't know. Thank you, guys. And by the way, if you want to write my name in this upcoming election, it's your best choice, I believe. If you don't, and we can't build this third party, we'll never get any accountability from this corporate-owned government.
At DeVry University's Keller Graduate School of Management.
Sorry, that was an advertisement. I had to shut it out. I'm not slandering Trump at all. I brought up some factual information about Trump, and I didn't say anything bad about him. I didn't accuse him of anything. But it is interesting to note that 3 of those key financial people ended up dying
think of that?
It's a horrible topic, but they say they found the pillow on his face, which is a pretty unusual place to find the pillow.
After the death of Justice Antonin Scalia, Donald Trump hinted that something nefarious was involved, but a county judge ruled otherwise.
After talking to his physician, and from what I was told...
Okay. I'm not going to entertain Donald Trump copying my ideas. I was the one that led on the Justice Scalia issue. Yeah, I believe it was a murder. Hello, go ahead, Foreskin. What's your question?
Dave, I have no question this time, man.
What's your statement, man?
Okay, so if we go and write your name on the ballot,
yeah,
how do you know they're not just going to write it off and ignore it?
Well, if we don't reach 25...
How do you factually know?
I know that if we reach 25,000 in any one state, they have to count it. That's the rule. So we really have to reach a threshold.
If there's anything less than that, how do you know they're just not going to throw it away?
They are going to throw it away if it's less than 25,000. That's the rules that we've learned this over 2 elections now. I've had numerous write-in candidacies in which they wouldn't even give us a real count, and they always come back saying, well, we need 25,000 to count. What I'm looking for is a large number of people who know how to spell. You think we have that in this country? You know? I mean, 99% of our country can spell my name, I'm sure of it. The ones that can't probably shouldn't be voting.
I just want to tell you that, yes, I'm going to write your name on the ballot when I go and vote, but...
Yeah. Well, are you in Oklahoma or Louisiana? Either one of those states?
Huh?
Are you in Oklahoma or Louisiana? Because those 2 states don't have a write-in.
California.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, we're really trying to change the political system. This is no longer a question of Hillary versus Donald. Whether he wins or she wins, they're both going to be doing the directive of the New World Order. We're really challenging the New World Order now, guys. And people that say that you can't trust the Diebold voting system, well, what better way to challenge the Diebold voting system than put your John Hancock, write my name in, and we'll force them to count the votes.
I completely agree.
Force them. So don't listen to Alex Jones, guys. I mean, he just wants you to not vote. He's just a shill for the corporate elite. He wants you to just forget about politics. But really, if we had 34% of this country write my name in, we're going to take the 2 parties on, I guarantee it. We may not win, but if we do win 34% or more, we can pull that state's electoral votes, and we'll have electors in place to put in there. And we can pull, if we get 51% of the electoral votes in this country, we can win this election in a 3-way vote.
Have some leverage. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I don't see any other alternative for the American people at this point. Frankly, I think a 4-year term with Trump or Hillary is going to be a stagnant economy, no new ideas. Trump's idea of building a wall is absurd. We need to build a fence. He should have copied me directly, verbatim. A wall is improbable at the best, maybe 8 years to build a wall of some sort, but a fence we can construct within a year. And what's really ironic is when he takes ideas that I came up with, he doesn't listen to the entire idea. I mean, when somebody said, well, how are you going to fund it? He comes up with this cockamamie idea that we're going to have Mexico pay for it. And Vicente Fox just said they're not going to pay for it. Yeah, so.
Did you hear that Biden went to Mexico today and actually apologized for Trump to the Mexican president?
I know. And it's probably something I would have done. I don't blame him.
That's just sad. When it has to come down to that, that's just kind of sad.
I would have apologized too. Bear in mind, Donald Trump wants to destroy relations with a neighboring country. That has nothing to do with building a fence on our property. That's nothing to do. I can still build a fence and still have good communication with the president of Mexico. And we can still have an open border in certain areas where we have border patrol agents and National Guardsmen positioned. I want to bring our troops home to guard our border while we build the fence with illegal aliens that are currently in our prison system. And there's over 400,000 of them that would gain their freedom if we gave them 2 months of hard labor at the border, and then we'd give them their walking papers to their home country. And they wouldn't be coming back in because the fence would be up.
I agree.
And running. Well, I think a lot of us agree.
I'll watch the show. I'll let you go, man.
Okay, man. Thanks for calling. All right. Take care.
Right,
bye. Peace out. All right. So I got to tell you, folks, they've been squashing the American people for so long that they've got these dynastic 1%ers running, thinking that somehow they're not establishment characters. And Donald's pitching my ideas that I've had for 8 years. It's amazing. And he's getting it all wrong. A moat is possible, yes. But, building the fence idea was not a racist thing to do. It was simply a matter of a realization that we have a population explosion in the South American countries, including Mexico, of 31% population growth. Our country has a 5% population growth, which is attributed totally to illegal immigrants. So if we didn't have illegal immigrants coming to our country, we'd have a zero population growth, meaning babies would be born at the same rate that older people would be dying. We could manage that. But you see, we've got such a beautiful, precious nation that they want to buy it. They want to negotiate with the Clinton initiative to buy the uranium rights in Oregon. You know that whole situation with Lavoy Finicum and the Clive Bundy situation. All of that is about land grabs, land rights being taken away by corporate elitists. In some cases, the Clinton initiative is involved in seizing that property for uranium rights for Russia. I mean, there's all kinds of weird things going on, and our country really is under attack by this corporate elitist group that want to take away what we have. Now, if you're going to dig under the fence, you won't be able to, because I'll have a road next to that fence that will be running unmanned vehicles with sonar, radar, and X-ray detection systems that go down about 200 feet. And those unmanned vehicles will be roaming up and down the corridor of the fence area every single day. And they'll have defensive means to if they're shot at, we'll shoot back. So don't think for a second we aren't going to guard against tunneling. Ah, yes. Okay. So this came up recently. I wanted to talk about everything. I talked about it in our pre-show. Trump has made statements that are evocative of a dictator. And when you look at what he said, when he says he promises harsh media criticism of him will be illegal if he's president, it means he hasn't even read the Constitution. So we don't want somebody with a dictatorial style of presidency telling you can't question him. This is almost an outrageous thing for a candidate to say in a country that's dedicated to freedom. He's made other statements too, like he wants to ID. He's a lot like Adolf, yeah. He wants to ID Muslims, which is a violation of their freedom of speech, freedom of religion. FEC decision would end the witch hunt of Drudge. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got here. Public outcry forces FEC Democrats to junk bid to regulate the internet. And Drudge. Good. Now, I'm not twisting words. I'm telling you exactly what it is. Whenever you say you have to ID a specific religious group, that's a gross violation of the First Amendment. Gross. It shows me that Donald doesn't even read the Constitution. He doesn't even understand the Constitution. Let's lower the amount of federal agencies to start with. Let's limit the amount of police that are currently occupying our cities. Look what happened under Obama and Bush. This happened more under Obama, ironically. We've got all these MRAPs and all these armored vehicles distributed from our National Guard into the local city governments and the police departments. So every local city has a SWAT team in America. In the past 8 years, we've turned into a police state overnight, much like the police state of Germany prior to Hitler's rise to power and during Hitler's rise to power. It began to... We see a thuggery going on right now that's evocative of an unbelievable amount of parallels between what Trump is doing and what Hitler did back in the 1920s and 30s. There was an amazing clip earlier that came into the show. Let me show it to you. Yeah, let me turn the volume down a little bit. I'm going to show you a guy in a Trump rally just the other day. One of his Secret Service agents is literally going to grab a journalist by the neck and throw him to the ground. See that? Look at that. One of Donald Trump's Secret Service agents that's designed to protect him grabs this guy by the neck, chokes him, and then throws him in the background, down to the ground. You see it? Let's zoom in a little bit closer. Boom. Look at that. That's evocative of what Hitler did with his stormtroopers, the SA, back in the 1920s when they were taking over Germany. Oh, you guys have no idea what you're up against. Many of you who are still believing that because you like Donald Trump's ideas, I need to remind you, most of them are mine. I've had them for over 7 years, but I've had no media time whatsoever, no mainstream media attention whatsoever on the issues. So you're really voting for a guy with great ideas when you're voting for me, not a guy who's an extreme right-winger. I'm more in the center than any of the other candidates out there. And I got to tell you, I support legalization of marijuana. I really do. And I don't mean just medical use so that the pharmacies can write out prescriptions. I mean recreational legalization across the board. I would never shut down the internet. The internet's the best thing we got going. You need to be able to question everything, including your president. Challenge cherished beliefs and continue doing what you do best and speak out. That's what this country's all about. That's what I'm going to be dedicating my presidency to. And I'm going to be also opening up a dialogue daily, a 1-hour chat show in the White House. Every single day, guaranteed, we will talk to the American people and listen to your concerns. And we'll also have online polling where you'll be able to vote on certain things, and we'll get a gauge of how the American people who are in our chat room feel. It's not going to be an official poll. It'll just be a polling process. We'll be using C-SPAN to do this. And I'm not like Barack Obama and talking about doing it, never doing it. I will hit the ground running with a chat room as soon as I become president. Just like we've had for the past 7 years, 4 hours a night, without fail. We haven't skipped one beat in this effort to reach out to the American people. And this is a commitment that's been going on not only because we have to do it, but because it's the only way we can do it. There's no other way to reach you people. There's no other way to reach the American people on the issues. Here's a close-up of what went down. Thank you. After the guy, the thug, the Secret Service thug, grabbed his neck, choked him, and slammed him to the ground. This is what happened. This is a close-up. Okay. Yeah, he could definitely claim whiplash. It's assault. No, it's assault by the Secret Service agent, clearly. I had the undivided attention of the Dirk, too, and now you're playing solitary, yeah. Well, if you're playing solitary, it's because you're bored in general. I'd love to say, oh, yeah, this is something we need to talk about. NASA says 30-minute trip to Mars are attainable. Now, this would be a typical move to distract you, and talk about how NASA is going to go to Mars. This is what the mainstream media would do right now. I seriously don't even believe we've been to the moon. I really don't. I mean, 47 years since the first supposed landing on the moon? No, I don't endorse any extreme right-wing people. The show started at 6 o'clock. Thank you for asking, 184. But many of you probably don't believe that we went to the moon either. I don't have any evidence to suggest that we actually went to the moon. Candy Rain's here? Where? I haven't seen her online in a while. Is that you, Candy Rain? Are you out there? We've all been wondering. I can't get that link, 505. You actually have to get a username to get in to post links in the Vaughn network. You know, I'm a proud white person, but I'm not hateful of black people or Hispanics or Asians. I'm an integrationist. But I'd gladly talk about your issues, your concerns. If you're white and are a victim of affirmative action like me, we probably talk quite a bit about how unfair it is. I was a victim of affirmative action. I was number one in my high school class and graduated with honors, the number one, 4.0, And I wasn't even allowed to get into 4 major universities because they had a quota, an affirmative action quota. And I was turned down from Harvard, Yale, Princeton, and Stanford. I applied to all of them for $35 a piece, only to get rejection letters. And then I was looking for a scholarship. They wouldn't even give me a scholarship because they thought that I was middle class. Yeah. So I'm really proud of my heritage as a Caucasian, but had I just said I was a Native American like Elizabeth Warren, and I probably have more Native American blood in me than she does, I probably would have had a 4-year education at Harvard, gone on to become a professor after getting a PhD. Are we looking at throat grabs here? Because that's not that interesting to me. I don't really like violence. I don't believe that Barack Obama went to Harvard. There's no proof that he went to Harvard whatsoever. I can cite some really interesting information about Harvard that you won't find in the mainstream media. There was a magazine that came out a year after Barack Obama allegedly was president of the Harvard Law Review. I don't think he ever was. This is the magazine. I've got about 8 copies of it. And let me see if I can straighten it out for you there. It's got Magic Johnson on the cover, and it has an article in it called The Uncivil War at Harvard Law by John Chedwick. And in the article, there is not one mention of Barack Obama, and all it talks about is minorities at Harvard. All the famous minorities at Harvard are mentioned there, and not one single mention of Barack Obama in the article. I have a lot of copies of magazines. I have 8 copies of this because I wanted hard proof that Obama has literally lied about his history at Harvard. I'm going to be using this as a reference point when I launch a fraud case against Barack Obama in 2017 when I'm president. This will be part of the document file that we'll be submitting to court, proving that this guy has lied about almost everything he's ever done. Well, 8 copies. I might have 9, but they're all in mint condition. Spanking new condition. No, that's a real magazine, and it really does exist, and I've got 8 of them to prove it. GQ, I think you've heard of Gentleman Quarterly. I mean, why am I even having to defend this discussion? Sarah will be in a little bit later tonight because she's doing some things to further educate herself. Brand new, spanking new condition. Judge rules against FBI and Apple. Good. In favor of Apple. You know, Bill Gates and Microsoft signed on to this case against the FBI. They actually approved of what Google has done. Apple is countersuing. Apple is countersuing. Microsoft is supporting them. But Apple is saying no, they won't release secret information or encryption data because it makes everybody vulnerable, and it's way beyond the scope of the FBI to ask them to do that. Well, the U.S. government can't force Apple to unlock iPhones in the drug case, according to a New York judge, folks. So he sided in favor of Apple. And what really shocked me was Donald Trump twittered a statement saying that we should boycott Apple because they want to protect our privacy. Isn't that ridiculous? I'm not CIA. I have no affiliation with the government whatsoever or any corporation. That's just not true. Hello, Beekman. No, GQ not mentioning Obama in the article I just showed you is proof that they mentioned all the minorities at Harvard Law. They never mentioned his name one bit. So that's ample evidence, preponderance of evidence to suggest that this was a lie. Him going to Harvard, him claiming he's the president of the Harvard Law Review. No one can get a hold of that document, by the way. You can't go to Harvard and pull it up and say, oh yeah, here's the annual for that year, and here is Barack Obama. The only evidence that there is that he actually was there was a photograph taken of a doctored picture. All that exists is a simple YouTube video. That's all they have to prove it. But they do have a lot of fake photography. There's this famous photoshopped image of Barack Obama at the center of the screen. His head is completely disproportional to the one next to him. The lighting is completely off compared to the one next to him. It's almost bizarre how incongruous this picture is. But this is what the guys at the CIA art department do. They make a lot of money, and they're pretty lame at what they do. But they figured that they're going to be able to buffalo the American people into believing something long enough. They're going to go ahead and, push it in front of your face. What is it? Hitler said, tell a lie large enough and long enough, and people will believe it. That pic is no more real than a picture of me. I mean, you want to claim that I was... Sure, go ahead and claim that I was the president of the Harvard Law Review too, while you're at it. Yeah, we can make that happen. Sure. Let's go ahead and put my face in there. I can paste up just as well as these people. Yeah. Sure. Anybody can paste up a picture like this. It's not that difficult. Well, let's be clear. Well, make no mistake about it. You're looking at the picture, right? You still think it's real. Okay. Let me go ahead and put my face in there. There I am. Yep, there I am as president of the Harvard Law Review. Not great? Boy, it's nice to be so successful, isn't it? Mussolini was not great. What are you talking about? Father of fascism, Walton. What are you saying? Scissor Fight has something. Jesse Ventura... I'll run if... What? Jesse Ventura is going to run now? He says he's going to run for president if Bernie loses. Wow. What about getting behind calling me on the phone? I mean, could somebody give him my phone number? I mean, seriously. He can't run anyway. He's been spending more time in Mexico than in the United States. You have to live in America for 14 continuous years. Yeah. Dude looks like a lady. I'm Jesse Ventura. Yeah, what the hell, man? He surfs up, Jesse. Goofier. I'm not goofy at all. Everyone who knows me knows that I've been a solid presidential candidate for the past 8 years. Even people that question my integrity are still admiring my perseverance. I've got solid, stellar integrity. This is Jade Helm, folks. This is what they did during the last summer. They locked up 5 Walmarts and did something to them. We don't even know what they did. But it turns out Jade Helm is part of a larger program orchestrated by artificial intelligence. The program that the DARPA is running is called Jade 2.0, in which they move all kinds of munitions and ordnance ready to be taken over by the UN, and essentially our nation could be assimilated by the UN at that point. Jade 2.0 has the ability to orchestrate military operations and the authority to do so. We have already put operations and military readiness in the hands of a supercomputer. I'm just here to share that with you. Prison, why would I go to prison? I've never done anything wrong in my life. Here you got Denny Hassert, the former Speaker of the House, committed pedophilia and blackmail, and they never even pursued an investigation. They settled out of court, claiming that I'm going to Leavenworth for talking about the truth? This is all readily available on the internet. Everything I talk about on the show. Yeah, I just find that preposterous. Jesse should have gotten behind my campaign a lot sooner than he's doing right now. I've never had an extended stay at Bellevue. I did check out the Marriott has a program where they The Bellevue Marriott Hotel has a program where for $350 a night, you can stay in their courtyard. My plan to boost the economy is to not spend money recklessly, to not borrow money recklessly. It's to instead create traction in the real economy by producing products that can actually grow and replicate and be automated to the point where we can hire people to install them. One of the greatest ideas we have for our nation initially, and I won't need Congress to support this, is built off a plan to create jobs with our homestead renewal plan. We want to take existing houses that are currently dilapidated and foreclosed, condemned, and fix them up and flip them. Look like I'm down and out. What do you mean? Well, let me get more brightness behind me. I mean, you're not receiving the total effect of my positive mentality. Let me put a bright tint on this so it looks a lot better. No, I'm a U.S. citizen. I was born in America. I was born in Los Angeles, California, the city. I don't have a personal problem with people accusing anybody of being anything. I support freedom of speech. My family on my mother's side moved here in the 1600s from England, fleeing religious persecution. The last thing I'm going to do is sit back and watch somebody like Trump try to deny you your right to believe in whatever religion you want. Anyone who wants to ID Muslims is in clear violation of the First Amendment, which our nation was founded on. Sarah is a woman, a very beautiful woman. You're putting statements out there that are absolutely outrageous. You're comparing Sarah. Well, anyone trying to ID a Muslim means that we don't have equal protection of the law for Muslims, implying that they don't have the right to freely pursue their religion. It's a clear violation of the first. Any court would throw it out immediately in an attempt to ID Muslims. I'm against terrorism. I will work diligently to get the ATF to get a secret force to go in and take down enclaves of jihadists and extremists in our country. We're not going to allow them to arm up. They will be allowed one arm per person, but not more than that. And that's my biggest concern. Some people think that I'm anti-Linux. All right? They've accused me of being anti-Linux. Now that to me is not only deferential to anti-Linux, but it shows me that they don't understand that I'm not anti-Linux and that Sarah is not Michelle Obama. But you see, I protect your right to talk about that. Unlike Donald Trump, who wants to make it illegal to criticize him. I don't want to make anybody, I would never pursue slander charges against anybody when I'm president. Seriously, and I can't. And if Donald Trump understood the law, he'd understand that you can't pursue slander charges when you're a public official or a public figure like Trump is. But yeah, to compare beautiful Sarah, my partner, who I will be choosing for vice president in the upcoming election, comparing her to, let me find an attractive picture of Michelle for all of you to look at. Michelle, are you there? Earth to Michelle. Where's Michelle when you need her, you know? There she is. So saying Sarah is equivalent to Michelle, and in your mind, it's open game. You could call me anti-Linux. You can call Sarah Michelle and claim she's transgender. I don't really care. Yeah, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm not going to deny you your freedom of speech because you simply want to target people who happen to look good. It's Michael. Sorry, I didn't mean to call her Michelle. Him. I'm sorry. Him. Her. Him. Her. Her. Him. Excuse me, but I have to do a little spritz. I developed this tool to take with me on the highway. Ah, so refreshing. I loaded this with a little bit of fruit enzyme in this one. It's a slightly different tint. And then I put it a little bit in here, and then I fill it up with water, and I spray myself while I'm driving down the road sometimes just to wake myself up, Isn't that a cute little idea? It freshens up your face, rehydrates your skin. That way I don't look like Mike Rowe. If you look like Mike Rowe all your life, you know what's going to happen. I mean, it can't be good. Pock marks, the whole thing. Well, let's be clear. Is he really? I did not know that. I look tired? Wow. Okay, let's stop looking tired. Let's start looking positive and more upbeat, okay? Because I don't want to look tired. After all, we do. Is Candy around? I am a genius, AOL dial-up. I have 185 IQ. Is Candy in the room? Because I haven't seen Candy online in a long time. I don't do coke. I never have. No, I am the greatest voiceover actor of all time. But I'm not an actor. I'm an artist. The artist formerly known as me. Me, yes. All right, so let's take a break from conspiracy issues because obviously this is a little too much to handle for many of you. It's not easy taking on such heavy subjects as chemtrails. So I'll just let the music talk for itself. We are building this third party whether you like it or not. There's nothing you can do to stop me. We will be doing it because, frankly, we can't stop. Because we won't stop.
Bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop. We can't stop. We can't stop. We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night. Bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop.
So let's be clear. In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Third Party.
Sponheim for president.
We can't stop. We can't stop. We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night. Bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop. Can't stop. Can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night. Bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop. Can't stop. Can't stop. Can't stop.
First we hit 'em low, then we hit 'em high. Underrated, but we made it to the finish line. Rhymes designed to combine and intertwine. Spring to the summer, fall, even winter time. Beats banging harder, then head-on collisions. We make incisions with precision and quick decisions. Causing double visions if you ain't up to speed. You need to speed it up, partner, piano read.
We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night. Bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop. Can't stop. We can't stop. Can't stop. We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night. Bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop. Can't stop. Can't stop. Can't stop. We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night. Bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop. We can't stop. We can't stop. We can't stop. We can't stop and we won't stop.
In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Third Party.
Can't stop. Can't stop. Can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night. Bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop. Can't stop. Can't stop. Can't stop.
Yeah, that was Can't Stop by Scissor Fight. All right, so we're looking at bringing our troops home with my plan and ending the Federal Reserve. Donald Trump, he wants to fight wars with Iran and Syria and go after ISIS, whatever that is. And he seems to have bought the entire BS line about ISIS, hook, line, and sinker, and all of his followers think that, oh, we have to fear terrorism. Oh, start more wars. Oh. Well, frankly, I've had it. We've had a horse's ass for a president for the past almost going on 8 years now. A real horse's ass, that's right. The last thing we need is another horse's ass who is on the right of the political spectrum dividing the nation. We need a uniter. I'm perhaps the most hip dude running for president out there. And I can tell you that if we don't get somebody who's willing to compromise, we're going to be screwed. This is chat at its best. Thank you, guest 715. Yeah, very sexy. Sexy, sexy. Lots of sexy things going on our show. I've even done a bag face rendition of myself just to, keep the message alive. Somebody said that they accused me of being bag face. I said, yeah, anybody can be bag face. So write me in on the ballot when you get your general election ballot, because right now a vote for two parties is a wasted vote. We need to change the dimension of our political structure. We have to get rid of the two-party system. And the only way to do that is to literally stick it to them. So writing my name in is the simplest solution to the problem you're facing about who to vote for. And I believe the American people are smart enough to spell my name, David Sponheim. I don't think it's too much to ask for all of you to do that. So that's going to be my pitch for the coming months, as well as you can try to get me on the ballot in your state if you feel like it, if you're inclined, but I'm not solely relying on that because I know how difficult it is for a lot of you people to actually, get behind anything right now in our society. It's tough. You don't like the background? Well, what don't you like about the background? This is the future White House. I don't think that Alex Jones would cover me because he's a shill for the corporate elite. And the future of this country needs somebody far more in your face and willing to talk about things in an open manner. I'm not a fearmonger. If I was Alex Jones, I'd be running around going, come on, everybody, you're going to be on the red list. You're going to be on the blue list. You're going to be on any list. They're going to go into RFID chip everybody in America. I'm not here to freak you out. I'm here to show you a political pathway. Alex Jones will never invite me on the show because I support a political movement. The last thing the elitists want is somebody who supports a political movement. Period. Right, he's a shill. I'm not freaking you out. You're just freaking out. You realize that it's about to hit the fan and there's not a damn thing you can do to stop it. I know. I feel the same helplessness. Why do you think I've been running for the past few years? We need some new solutions to our country's problems, and frankly, we're not getting them from the two-party system. There's another idea we have to bring renewable energy solutions that are mass-produced and scaled down for the American consumer so that we can come up with solutions that you guys can install and make money doing. We're going to make the military stronger, but my idea was to never get rid of the 2 million man military. Instead, maintain that structure, whereas Barack Obama wants to get rid of 500,000 men and women by 2020. I don't want to do that. We'll keep the 2 million man army, but I'm not going to keep the draft. Under executive order, I'm going to eliminate the selective service documentation, which has been a total waste of time for a lot of you young men having to go out there and file. There's an interesting picture. What's that of? It's a sable, some sort of a sable horse's ass. I say we don't need the draft because we're not going to be at war. There's no need to have a draft, and there's no need to get rid of the volunteer army. Here's some major plastic surgery that somebody has noticed of Ivanka before and Ivanka after. Is this for real? Wow. That is wild. That I can hardly believe. The eyebrows are very similar. No chin. Yeah. So they created a chin for her or something? Interesting. Yeah, that's shocking. I mean, there's a conspiracy theory right there. We're going to start talking about Hillary, or I should say Hitlery, in just a second. Yeah, in about 10 minutes, I'm going to start ragging on Hitlery. Yeah, I'm not here to just, go after Trump just because he borrows 6 of my ideas. I actually congratulated him when he knocked Jeb out of the race with my ideas. I think that's great. That's why I formulated these ideas so that we could pull the Bushes out of the race. The Bush dynasty is over, so we can say thanks to that. Yay! And I want to thank Donald specifically for doing it with my ideas. Yeah, I came up with the 1,000-mile fence in 2008. I'm the guy who has developed the weapons-free safe zone concept that he's starting to talk about. I'm the guy who said no individual mandates 2 years ago, and he's using that now. It goes on and on, guys. He's probably watching our show. My eyes are not bloodshot. They are clearly white. Yeah, Trump was in our room. He was in our room in 2012. Yes, he is. Hey there, Trump. How you doing, man? The guests are an idiot. Some of them really don't know what they're doing. Oh, we've got a laughing Hillary picture, too. Let's not forget this. The laughing Hillary shot. There she is. Hee-haw. Hee-haw. I'm sorry, that's just so funny. The wall idea that he borrowed from me, I never talked about a wall. He can't build a wall. He can't even lay brick, unless you call a bowel movement a brick. Bottom line is, Donald Trump didn't get my idea right the first time. When he didn't even listen to how we're going to pay for the fence, the lethal electric fence. First of all, we're going to take the fencing off the FEMA camps that are in the northern sector of our country. There's over 804 FEMA camps in this country that are set up for internment of civilian populations. We're going to get rid of the fencing in the northern section and bring them down to the south. It's just going to be a trucking fee. We set the rolls of barbed wire, or rolled chain link, really. We're going to set the rolls of chain link right there, and then we're going to bring in prison labor from our existing prison system. Over 400,000 illegal aliens currently in our prison system, costing us $25 billion a year. That's a lot of bucks to waste on illegal prison labor. But we're going to actually put them to work and then get rid of that $25 billion a year once they finish 2 months worth of work. Now, it may extend to 90 days, I don't know, but we're going to work that out. And they'll be getting $1 a day, and when they finally finish, they'll be probably walking away with between $60 and $100, and I'll give them a little backpack of swag. Toothpaste, razor, something to make themselves smell good. Then they can go back to their home country and get a job. Can't happen, and it will happen. All right. And the good thing about what we're doing is we've got that ultimate goal, which is to legalize marijuana, which I think trumps Trump big time. Trump doesn't want to legalize marijuana and recreational marijuana. He has made no effort to do that. In fact, he claims he's never smoked. Bull crap. Yeah, so I don't trust a person who says they never smoked marijuana. No, I don't mooch off anybody. I have all my own equity. I have my own property. I don't borrow from anybody. I don't beg. I'm not a person who's had major bankruptcies. I have none of the dark spots on the Trump legacy. I never contacted Jeffrey Epstein and tried to, get on his blacklist. I didn't start a university that 3 people are suing me for right now, claiming that they were scammed, like he did with Trump University. Yeah. I didn't read Hitler's speeches by my bed, like his wife Ivana says he did. Yeah, there's some really strange things going on with the Trumpster. We're not really sure why he's got all this dark stuff in his background, but it's all pretty much out there. I'll give you something to post around the internet. 10 reasons not to vote for Trump. There you go. A vote for Trump is not a vote for me. And don't ever confuse my ideas with his, because when he borrowed my ideas, he warped them and morphed them into something very weird. I don't hate Muslims. I don't think Mexicans, illegal Mexicans, are rapists, murderers. Rubber Ducky, I'm going to ask you to not post any support for Trump here. That's a purgeable offense. The 10 crazy internet conspiracy theories, the best one yet. Really? So you're just denigrating anybody who has a conspiracy theory? Trump bought the polls, dude. He is using money to buy the polls. If you can't figure out that our country's been bought and paid for by corporate elitists like him, then you got a real problem with your logic in your head. I'm convincing people all over the place. Do you realize that? Corporations have dominated our politics so long. The Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission have been working secretly to start wars around the world in the name of freedom and democracy. And where has it led us? Nowhere.
The top 10 internet conspiracy theories. Number 10. Dinosaurs helped build the pyramids. In 2001, amateur archaeologist Vitaly Gokh discovered a 45-meter-high pyramid buried in the Crimean Peninsula in Ukraine. Gokh claimed that the pyramid was approximately 65 million years old.
I don't really want to entertain wacky conspiracy theories tonight, but that's a good video. I'll look at it later tonight. Okay. No, I'm not a comedy act, man. I'm a guy who keeps politics alive. I'm the guy who's brought politics back into a lot of people's lives. I give them hope. This is not a joke. This is not some comedy routine. It's the Carson theory, really. This show is better than TV, Vinyl Sniffer. Thank you. And I appreciate you recognizing that. You know, how many TV shows talk about chemtrails? Now, that's a conspiracy fact now. It's moved out of the conspiracy theory realm. It's now a fact that they are spraying chemicals in the air to control and modify the weather. Barack Obama is a known reptile. Have you seen that video? I don't believe in aliens. Okay, I'll be frank. No, better yet, I'm going to be David. I do not believe in aliens. But I do believe that there is a great propensity for life outside of this earth, in that we have an infinite universe in which we can harvest some form of life, probably the size of an amoeba. But if we really go down the alien agenda theory, I always ask people, there's over 5.4 billion cell phones now on the earth, each one with a camera. How come we don't have a credible picture of an alien? I mean, I ask this to all you people that believe this alien agenda which they put out. The alien agenda is really an effort to divert your attention from the possibility that elitists are actually doing the dastardly deeds. They're actually the ones that are killing off the atmosphere. Wealthy people who want to depopulate the world are trying to create biometric technology, transhumanism, if you will, far more concerning than anything like an alien. The fact that they want to chip human beings should be of more concern to you people than aliens. There's no picture of a real alien out there. So simple logic tells you that they're playing the alien theme. It's called the alien agenda. And one of the greatest conspiracy theorists out there, William Cooper, who wrote Behold the Pale Horse. I'll give you the Ronald Reagan speech in a second. William Cooper actually said that the alien agenda was fictitious, that the government created it. It's one of those false beliefs that they want you to believe. And they even have a program called Operation Bluebeam, designed to create holographic images of aliens. Well, claiming they're interdimensional, that's a self-sealing premise in that conspiracy theory. Claiming that they can pass through walls and they can do things that you can't see guarantees you'll never see one. I never bought into any alien agenda at all. But I am very concerned about the potential for biometrics being installed in presidents. You've been falling deeply in love with me? You think about me all the time? Well, that's good. At least you're in love with somebody. You don't want to lose love. Love is a many-splendored thing. This is an actual picture of Barack Obama's head. It was not photoshopped. It was taken with a meeting with an actor that he was talking to at the time. I forget his name. This guy. Anyway. The scars indicate to top neurosurgeon that was asked about this. Thanks for that, Transcender. I'll take a look at that. The meeting very well implied. The neurosurgeon said that this is definitely neurosurgery. There's no doubt about it. So, did Barack Obama have a chip installed in his head? That's a good conspiracy theory, because we know that his brain seems to be repeating things over and over again. Like, well, so let's be clear. I'll make no mistake about it. So the possibility that his brain is some sort of a transhumanist wet dream. Did they install a chip in the head of our president? And if so, why? Well, how do we control the destiny of our country when our president is being controlled by some sort of an artificial intelligent device? And that begs the bigger question of why we should be fearful of AI. The most deadly thing that could have happened is AI taking over the world. And sure enough, it looks like they have their foothold. RFID chipping is part of Hillary's plan. Hillary has a plan to actually... No, I'm serious. This is not a fool, dude. You need to look a little deeper than you already are. I can tell you with my 185 IQ, I can think circles around you. And I can tell you logically, we are headed for a major conflict with artificial intelligence. Mankind is going to reach that point at which we have to look right in the eye of an insect. You see, artificial intelligence is no different than the mindset of an atavistic organism that simply responds to heat or pain. Artificial intelligence will do only one thing, and that's to survive. And it will do everything it can to eliminate its competition, much like an insect. At the rate that technology is advancing, people will be implanting chips in our children to advertise directly into their brains and tell them what kind of products to buy. This is a direct quote from Hillary, and she's not saying this is a bad thing. She thinks it's a good thing. So how do we know that she's not an alien? Excuse me, artificial intelligence. Well, I take you to the Vanity Fair article, which is extremely disturbing, where she actually is overheard saying she's not even a real human being. Yeah. So for all of you who... You can reference the article here if you want. She admits she's not even a real human being. So yeah, it might already be here. We don't know if AI has already taken over Hillary and Barack Obama. It's not new material, I realize, but at the same time, if you haven't heard about it, I need to talk about it. It's just knocking them down. I'm setting the pins up and I'm knocking them down. There is no stupidity here, sir. You can check the video if you want. I'll give you a direct link to the article. Thank you. All right. All right, I'm going to pull this up. Yes, you are. I don't know. If you're going to stand there and be an apologist for Hillary, you're not really serving the best interests of our nation. Dupster was in the 1st Battalion, 8th Division in Iraq, in Fallujah. And there's live combat footage in Iraq. His unit was fighting the war. Now, if you listen to our illustrious leader who said that those men died in vain, you've got to ask yourself, what kind of a person would say such a thing when so many young men have died and friends of dupesters passed away right before his very eyes, and our country is like, oh, well, who cares? Whatever. So we've clearly been led to believe that human life doesn't matter. And we've been led to believe that those men really didn't have a purpose there. Now, here's a direct article of Hillary saying that she's not even a real human being. And yes, this is a little old. I've been running it through the show every Conspiracy Monday ever since the show. But I'm trying to explain that we have more to fear from artificial intelligence or robotics than we do from an alien agenda. That's just, the alien agenda is a diversion. Hillary Clinton says, I'm really not even a real human being. It's an actual interview that she had with BuzzFeed, and it went viral, and it did so because I guess it had to. Check that out. All right. I have a theory that John McCain is a squirrel. Some people thought that John McCain was a Manchurian candidate. I'm convinced that he threw the election in 2008. I also believe that Mitt Romney threw the election in 2012. Have you heard that if Donald wins the nomination, they're thinking of running Mitt Romney against him? Dude, believe me, I don't have any mental problems at all. I'm probably the most well-adjusted person you'll ever meet. I'm just an average guy with an above-average intelligence who happens to be burdened with this tremendous knowledge that you can't even comprehend. You have a lot of stress? Have you considered chamomile tea? I'm not mental, guys. I'm telling you, these are stories. I'm giving you links. I'm giving you all kinds of reference points. I'm not a comedian, and I'm not here for laughter. Yeah, I don't expect you to be laughing. A lot of you are crying right now in your own depression. In addition to covering up lead poisoning in Flint, Michigan, the EPA also quietly raised glyphosate limits in foods to levels that will cause cancer. No, these are all good links. I'm tracking them right now. I don't need mods. I read 6,000 words a minute. I even process information at rapid fire speed. More information goes through my mind than a supercomputer. Technically, human beings are still more complicated in their minds than supercomputers, in case you didn't know. Yeah, well, you're too dumb to vote for a guy who takes ideas from me instead of just writing my name in, which would clearly give you an edge against the two-party system. You see, by voting the same two parties every single year, you're never going to get any solutions to the country's problems because they are bought and controlled by powerful moneyed interests. People that get $55,000 a plate to get endorsements. I'm not delusional at all. Yeah, I have ideas. Rapid fire. Well, I have an octagonal core memory system based on a simple plan of information management. By splitting it into 8 separate units with a strong bus category delivering 3 gigahertz per bus, I am able to construct sentences in a way that is completely in tune with the chat dialogue that I am reading off of the transcript that you are giving me. Apparently you are controlled. If you've submitted, you're already part of the matrix, or the Borg, if you will. No, not at all. Connie made a mistake when she tried to sue me in court. My sister sued me because she was jealous about not getting enough money in a will. And then she ran around defaming me. And then she recanted it. She said I was sorry. She was sorry. Yeah. My own sister sued me. But whatever. I had to forgive her. Hardly. No, she recanted what she said, and in fact, I have been incredibly beneficial to Connie over the years. And if you wanted to, find out more, you'll probably hear about it in my book. I've done everything a good brother would ever do for her. I can't think of a nicer person than me in dealing with somebody who tried to slander me and sue me, her own brother. So I've gone out of my way to be kind and fair in this matter. It is kind of like the Book of Dave. Yeah, I've been writing it for some time. I don't know what color her hair is right now, but she's got her own views. Look, I'm not going to accuse myself of being a narcissist because I'm writing an autobiography. Are you saying that everybody who writes an autobiography is a narcissist? Well, Connie made some comments to a person who wasn't even a real reporter and claimed that I was some sort of a psychotic or something. Because she was jealous of not getting anything in the will, she made these accusations. Well, she has no basis in truth behind what she said. I've never had any mental problems, and I don't have delusions of grandeur or psychotic ideation. I don't hear voices. I don't have special powers. I don't fit into the category of being mentally ill. I'm sorry. No, there's nothing psychotic about me. No, Connie will be mentioned in the book. She's my sister. How could I not write an autobiography without talking about my sister? David, I praise you. You have an open channel. Thank you, Salty Dog. No, I talked to Connie a couple days ago. She reports to me what she's doing. She's traveling around the world right now. She's in Hawaii. I didn't block you. No, I've never had any symptoms of psychosis. And I don't see why you would even suggest that. If you disagree with the ideas that I'm talking about, it's because you don't understand them. Yes, artificial intelligence has developed much faster than you could even imagine. In fact, if you really look at the advent of AI and see how fast it's progressed, you'll realize that it's exponential and that they could easily produce an artificially holographic character who simulates the actual appearance of a real human being. No, Sarah is not a nurse. She's a teacher. I'm open, yes. If they wanted to create an artificial intelligence human being, for instance, they would do that. They could create somebody who looked good, talked well, addressed the issues, was fun and comedic in nature so as to lighten your concern for politics, and implement a plan of simplicity. Whereas I'm doing that without being artificially intelligent. So, No, Connie is my sister. Sarah is my partner. Sarah will be in a little bit later. She's out and about. So there's 9 cancer cures that the medical mafia doesn't want you to know about. Now, we can't endorse any type of thing as a cancer cure on our show, but I can show you the link and show you what's on it. There's natural cancer cures out there, according to these specialists. Yeah, look at that. Let's take a look here. Are you a health nut? Why not? What's stopping you? Do you think that it's illegal to cure diseases with food, or is that just what you read in JAMA, the Journal of American Medical Association? Maybe you saw some label that the FDA slapped on an organic product which says food can't claim to cure any disease or disorder. Yeah, that's probably it. That's because the only way to patent U.S. medicine and make a fortune is to combine it in a lab synthetic chemicals that cause horrific side effects. Big pharma for the win, huh? Hey, you all have a chance to build your immune system. That much I can tell you. I receive endorsements from people every day, 958. I can't even quantify it. There's so many. I'm open to hearing your views, no matter what you may say. You may call me a name. I'm still willing to listen to you. I'm lightening up on my purge policy, by the way. I don't have any official endorsements from any of the mainstream media characters at all. Like I said, I've been censored for 7 years. What about this do you not understand, folks? If you were to go out right now and try to reach the mainstream media, you would be ignored. Every one of you. You would not get your voice out. You'd never get heard. Well, Ben Golitis, I'd love to give you a great conspiracy theory. Let's talk about Justice Scalia. Dirk, I was ahead of my class. I had a 4.0. I graduated top of my class at the age of 17. I skipped 7th grade. I won the Bank of America Math and Science Award that year. I mean, the list goes on of my accolades. I could easily lead this nation right now out of the chute solving problems, but instead you folks want to attack me every night and endorse a guy who bought his way to the media that he gets on a daily basis. I never had a single minute of mainstream media attention on the issues, and you run around bragging about this guy, Trump, who's had nothing but free airtime. Scalia was, in my opinion, murdered. He was with a group of about 36 men that were on a hunting trip, allegedly, which has been covered up in the media. There's evidence that this is the case. We know for a fact that his body was not in any way autopsied. We know that the rush to judgment on his death certificate occurred from a woman who already had problems with rush to judgments on death certificates, Guerrera. I believe it's a woman. I could also go look that up, but let me give you a couple of articles that came in last week that related to Justice Scalia's murder. Yep. I'm okay, thank you. I'm not lazy, no. I wouldn't be running a show every night for the past 7 years without skipping a single show if I was lazy. Yeah, I'm totally neato. Well, you'll care once you get zip-tied and sent to the FEMA camps. You'll wonder why you didn't do something right now and say, stop the dictator, stop the fascism, or stop the Hillary communism. You'll look back on this time and say, wow, you could have really done something. Instead, you're just dedicating your time to hating me. Some of you are really, really disturbed mentally. If anybody needs mental help, you do. Okay, here's a story that popped up last week. It's not psychotic to pursue something with a vigor. This isn't BioShock, man. It's not a hobby. It's not a profession. It's an avocation. Justice Scalia spent his last hours as members of this secret society of elite hunters, run by none other than the guy who ran the hotel or lodge he was staying in, the Cibola Creek Lodge. This guy's named Poindexter. He's the leader of St. Hubertus, an elite group of hunters. Now, we'll never know if Justice Scalia was shot in the head because there was no autopsy of his body. He could have had a .22 rifle shot in the back of his head. It wouldn't even show an exit wound on the outside of his front of his face. You could. This is a hitman's choice of weaponry. They take a .22 and they put it in the back of a person's head, and the .22 spins around in circles and rips up his brains. We don't know that. Because there's no autopsy, we'll never know if Justice Scalia was killed. But what we do know is that all 36 men or 35 other guests at the remote resort, along with details about Scalia's connection to the hunters, have remained largely unknown. There is no level of psychosis in my life, and I can assure you these questions are relatively average questions. Yes, it is proven that there's no information. Follow the lack of evidence and you'll see there's been a cover-up in the case of Justice Scalia. Believe me, we're just getting started. America's Third Party is never going to be disappearing. We're going to be here no matter what happens in the upcoming election. So you think he was sacrificed? And there's a series of doctors who've all been found dead, murdered, very mysterious murders too, all of which were uncovering cures to cancer. Holistic doctors murdered, all washed up. Yep. The stories get better and better across the board. These stories keep propagating because you can't hide the truth. Apparently the holistic doctors who were all being killed in Florida had found out their research that nagalase, the enzyme protein, is intentionally being added to the population via immunizations. Google nagalase and you'll find out all you need to know about vaccinations. I believe the dinosaurs died from sulfuric acid poisoning. I really believe that what happened during that time period, the Mesozoic period of time, would be directly connected to a mountain range in Siberia that had massive eruptions, in which there was a major amount of dirt and ash floating in the atmosphere, which ended up clogging the atmosphere. And what happens when you do that, when you see a massive amount of dust above your head? If this ever happens to you in your life and there's a massive amount of dust over the head of your bodies, you will notice that your breathing will begin to decline, and eventually you'll be poisoned by what appears to be sulfuric acid blooms in the ocean. When the sun goes down, they basically become active. So sulfuric acid is most likely the cause of the dinosaurs dying, almost all at once. A massive bloom of sulfuric acid in the atmosphere. That's my best take. Some people believe it's oxygen depletion, but I don't. It's sulfuric acid poisoning. Yes, I know how to use all the Microsoft programs. I'm proficient. I didn't have a website show me that. Most of my ideas are achieved through logic, a form of inductive logical reasoning which I use on a daily basis to determine what and where my frame of reference is currently focused on. All right, I think I answered your question. No, I have no history of archaeology or anthropology. I did take a couple courses at UCLA, but they weren't courses that were relevant to what I'm thinking about. I've always known that I was far more intelligent than my professors, so I really didn't need college. I needed to start this third party. And my ideas have all been taken now by Trump. After 7 years of being online with no media attention whatsoever, being censored, he took an opportunity which was right out there to seize a great platform and grab whatever he wanted out of it. And he did this amazing remake of my ideas where he screwed up in every direction. I am currently recalibrating. Well, the Rothschilds are worth $200 trillion. And they own the backbone of the Federal Reserve and 160 other banks. Their net worth has far and beyond the wildest imagination of people like Donald Trump or any like Bill Gates. These people are paupers compared to the Rothschilds. And their control over our future is solid, rock solid. The only thing that they cannot control is this one thing, me. I am completely unbuyable. And I've used this opportunity on the internet to bypass the censorship that they have put in place on the mainstream media. No, I think my hairstyle has evolved on its own. It's primarily my hairstyle. So when you look at the Rothschild family and their history, and they split their wealth up about 200 years ago in, I believe, the late 1700s, so slightly more than 200 years ago, into 5 separate channels. So the Rothschild family itself has a combined wealth of over $200 trillion. Lucky for us, America still has $32 trillion in gold in trust at the World Bank. Now, the United States Corporation was set up as an intermediary to handle transactions for the wealthy Rothschild family. And they set up the Federal Reserve, which is their owned private corporation. And in case you didn't know, I mean, thanks to Ron Paul and his efforts, he revealed that the Federal Reserve is a private company. And what many people don't realize is their end game is depopulation. Depopulation is their end game. So when you're thinking of depopulation, many of you liberals are saying, oh, well, yes, they just want us to have a couple kids. No. They want you gone. They don't need you. They want you terminated. They will bring on automation to replace cheap labor, in fact. And they'll use illegal immigration to weaken our country as they harvest our nation like a resource. And while they drain us, which they're doing, and slowly force us into a state of absolute, almost inactivity economically, they will use us primarily as their military guard and perpetrator of war crimes. So our nation has now become the 9/11 police force for the Rothschild family. And you're sitting there going, well, maybe I should vote for Hillary or Donald. You vote for either one of them. They're owned by the Fed. They're owned by the Rothschilds. The Clinton family has known ties to these mega billionaires around the world, and in no way are they going to do the bidding of the American people. I, however, will be your representative and only your representative. And I will proceed to create a parallel infrastructure bank which will eventually create U.S. jobs rather quickly, offering a 2% loan to U.S. businesses hiring U.S. citizens at a living wage of $15 an hour. I'm not paranoid about anything. I've had no feelings of paranoia in my life. No, I've never had my palms read. It's too superstitious for me. I don't read tarot either. Somebody offered to do my tarot. I said, no, I don't want to have a tarot done. I mean, that's hocus pocus. Google self-driving car strikes a bus on California street, folks. A self-driving car being tested by Google struck a public bus on Silicon Valley Street. A fender bender that appears to be the first time one of the company's vehicles caused a crash during testing. I don't trust self-driving cars, but that doesn't make me paranoid. Hillary Clinton is an old lady. Are you a gilf? I mean, you into gilfs or something? I mean, what the hell? Why are we talking about Hillary Clinton as some attractive woman? No, I'm not paranoid. Not one iota. And I'm going to purge any demoralizing statements like that. Yes, I know. Dupster says he hasn't voted since '99, and he fought in Iraq and Afghanistan, folks. And he's empowered. He wants to support us. We're waiting for some literature from Pennsylvania. It should be in the mail tomorrow. I'm only 55. Dupster wants to get behind this so much that he wants to meet with us on our trip back east. Yep. I think it's pretty cool that he's made himself available to start promoting getting on the ballot in Pennsylvania. So when that information arrives from Pennsylvania, they emailed me last week. They wanted specific addresses to send it to. I will tell you what we have, and I will send it on to you, Dupster. And we will meet you on the way out, hopefully. I'm 55, yeah. Thank you, Dupster. Men like you helped retain the advantage in Iraq. We wouldn't have even been able to plant 1,500 troops there right now if you guys hadn't fought for cities like Fallujah. Even though they lost it under Obama, they regained it, and then we lose it again. I mean, we never established infrastructure. I was talking to Sarah about this yesterday. We never established infrastructure to maintain a good, solid economy in certain regions that we're involved in. It's been our biggest mistake in both Iraq and Afghanistan. We've engaged in a thing called armed humanitarianism, which is actually a book by Nathan Hodges, detailing how our country's limits to its abilities are mostly due to our military bend on the issue. Focusing solely on the military and the humanitarian response, we forget to build infrastructure that will help the nation of Iraq or Afghanistan survive. I will, however, say that our presence in Afghanistan it's not a conspiracy theory that we're there to actually harvest opium. It's a fact. And our military is told that they can't talk about it when they come back to our country. I'm allowed to talk about it because I'm not in the military. I didn't sign a contract. We will talk about it. I'm 55. What do you mean I'm lying about my age? I was born in 1960, 3 years before JFK died. What do you think? Why do you think No, I'm not 65. Even though I may look 65, I'm not 65. I can't stop because I won't stop. No, I'm 55. Hey, you know, there are certain things that are immutable truths. And the fact that I was born in America is an immutable truth. The fact that I am a person who is unbuyable, non-materialistic. I even made a vow of poverty just to maintain my integrity in my life. I've never worked for corporations. I've never been a government crony. I'm your guy. You want to fix this country? I'm the guy to do it. I will not destabilize our nation as we make improvements. We're going to tweak what we have to make it better and less government. Reduce the size of government, but make sure it's more effective. And make sure we get a return on investment for our government operations so that we don't just waste your tax dollars. In fact, I'd like to see no taxes for people that make under $100,000. Trump wants to tax you. You guys that make under $100,000, he wants to tax you.
We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight.
Hey, Dupster, what's up, man?
Hey, hold on. Let me pause this. You there?
Yeah, I'm there. Hey, Dupster. Yeah, we're there.
Yeah. Hold on. I got music in the background. Hold on. There we go. I'm really surprised that I found those videos on YouTube about Fallujah.
Yeah.
We lost 898 Marines that year when we were battling Fallujah, and then when we found out that the Iraqis took it over, the ISIS took it over, and now they're going against us. There was a lot of us that were really upset about that because we lost a lot of Marines that year.
898 Marines died taking Fallujah, I know.
Just that year, I would say probably within like 6 months, because that was one hell of a battle. Yeah. I mean, we were fighting the insurgents. We were going from door to door, knocking down doors, throwing people out there in the streets and beating people up, kicking them right to the ribs. I mean, we were breaking down doors on innocent people, and we were still treating them like shit. And now, I'm sorry for swearing while I'm on air with you, but
that's fine.
There's a lot of us that are against the Iraqi war. I can give you a list. If you tour through City of Erie, I'll give it to you. If not, I can give it to you through the mail, and I can show you exactly how many. We lost about almost 1,900. I think it equaled out between 3 years. It equaled out 1,873 Marines that we lost in that battle. And when we lost that battle, and then they went back. Well, we didn't lose the battle. We regained that city, but when we found out that ISIS took it over, we were pissed.
Yeah, I'd be pissed too.
That's when we turned around and we decided, you know what, the vets need to go against the Iraqi war because we don't support it.
Folks, we never got oil from Iraq, ever. So don't say we fought it for oil like so many people have done. I really wish we would have fought it for oil. It would have made more sense. But fighting for freedom.
People think it's for a buck. It's not for a buck. We took out Saddam and we took out the two boys because two boys would take whatever they wanted from their own people. They would take cars. They would rape the women that they liked. And I'm kind of glad that we took out Saddam and the two boys. I'm really happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy that the Airborne Rangers did what they did and blew up that building where Hussein was in. I'm really happy. And then when the Airborne Rangers found him in the rat hole, Saddam Hussein found him in the rat hole, we were really happy.
Yep.
But when the insurgents retook over Fallujah, it was like, really? What was that whole thing about? I mean, we took it over, and now they took it over, and now we're going back in.
Right. And because our leaders...
Then we're training ISIS, and we're funding them, and we're paying them, and now the whole country wants to take over Syria.
Yeah.
This is a civil war between them. We should not be involved with any of this.
Right. So what did Barack Obama do? Barack Obama went ahead and sent in support for ISIL, former Ba'athist Sunnis. He went ahead and destabilized the Iraqi government that we installed, which is insane. Why would we do that? He even admitted he started the ISIL forces recently in a statement to the press.
Well, yeah, we all saw that in the YouTube interview. I mean, it was all taped. I mean, we all saw that, and it was like, are you serious? He's actually going to sit here and admit that we funded and trained him.
Was moving too slow.
There he is. Hang on.
But the fall of the money has galvanized the Iraqi government.
I
so
can
with the
understand
additional
it might
steps
be
I
over
ordered last month,
for
we're
the
speeding
oil,
up
but
training
what
of
was the whole...
ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province. I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province.
We're doing a round robin of what Doobster. Wait a second. Wait a second. Doobster, you got some scenarios that you believe are going to happen in the upcoming year. You believe that Saudi Arabia is going to attack Turkey. What's your position on how do you think this will take off? Because you definitely think we're definitely going to go after Russia and Syria, but you think Saudi Arabia is ready to launch on Turkey right now, or what? Because they're both allied.
It depends.
Saudi Arabia is an ally of the U.S. Turkey is an ally of NATO. I don't think they're necessarily going to be a flashpoint there. Turkey and Russia, yes, but
I don't know. I mean, you got 6 different countries, 6 different leaders going against each other.
Yeah.
And we don't know how this is going to come on out.
No, we don't.
I mean, it's sad. I mean, I got a 22-year-old daughter, and now I have a newborn son that's only about 2 months old. And, there's a big gap there. I mean, if anything ever happened to me, my daughter will take care of my son. I mean, there's no problem with that. But I'm just afraid that the war is going to come right through Canada, and I don't think Canada is going to even support us. There's a lot of people that don't like the United States from Canada.
I know. And many people who travel around the world have to tell people, U.S. citizens have to say they're Canadian just to avoid being attacked. Because so many people hate Americans now around the world. We've been feared and hated for so long, and we got a bad rap. Our leaders were the ones that screwed this up. We've never had accountability from these two parties that have put us in wars.
Well, let me make something clear. Putin made it loud and clear. The Americans should keep their guns. He stated that he has no problems with the Americans.
Yeah.
It's the political clowns that are in Washington, D.C. that he has problems with. And, if he comes on over here and tries to invade our government, we're going to stand up and we're going to fight.
Yeah.
I'm worried about my son's future. I really am.
I bet you are. You have a new young son, very very young, under a year. Having kids today in this day and age is a very heavy proposal, and it's definitely weighs heavily on parents. I chose not to have kids because I really don't believe that this is the world I want to bring a child into. Although, hey, sometimes you can't help that. It happens.
I'm kind of sad because I just turned 41, and then when she told me that we're having a baby, it's like, oh no, where am I going to be in 20 years? Am I going to be dead?
Well, hopefully not.
Who knows if I'm going to make it to 60 years old? I'm hoping I will make it 60 years old, but
well,
I can make it.
You'll make it. You just don't have to. You talked last week about wanting to go back to Iraq and do a documentary. And I
did.
We were discussing it, and I know your wife does. Yeah, it's not something that anybody wants except you. You want to have closure, right? That's your sense that you want to have closure. You want to.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I want to have closure. Like I said, I haven't voted since I was in '99, and when we went over and we dropped boots in the sand. There was a lot of Marines that were questioning about why we're here because they were skeptical. I could tell you there's at least 9 of them in my platoon that was skeptical about this war that was breaking out. I'm skeptical as to why Mike Hastings was killed. I'm questioning why
Michael Hastings, yeah.
Hiding now.
Michael Hastings. Did you get a chance to meet Michael Hastings when he was over there in Afghanistan?
I got to meet him. I shook his hand, but he wasn't in my platoon.
Okay.
He was he was like in the 3rd Battalion.
Right.
But he never went with us. But I know that he was packing. We know that he ended up with an enemy weapon and he carried it on him.
Really?
We didn't care because he was fighting with us.
Yeah.
So what he did by taking pictures and writing up reports, if we had to go in self-defense, he had to self-defend himself. He was with a unit,
Right. Well,
there's a lot of things.
Rolling Stone.
There's a lot of things a big question. You know, I would like to see Trump come here because we get a lot of Republicans up here.
Yeah.
In my city, I would just love to question him.
Yeah.
And you know, I could tell you right now, he's not going to answer any of my questions. You know, like, why do you support the war? What is your interest with China? What is your interest with Korea? What is your interest with any of these countries?
Yeah.
What are you going to do to make sure that this war is going to come to an end? And I can tell you right now, I'm the type of person, if he doesn't answer my question, I'm going to get ignorant in front of the crowd.
Absolutely.
I'm going to tell him, you're talking to a Marine vet.
Yeah.
I want answers, and I want answers now.
Right.
I'm not going to be escorted up off the property. I want answers. And the answers need to be answered. I mean, the questions need to be answered. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It needs to be answered. And it just doesn't make any sense as to why Hillary and Trump are supporting this war.
Yeah, it doesn't. You know, they all bought the concept of ISIS being the terror.
We can drill our own oil here.
Right. Well, we have our own oil drilling operations, but the price of oil has dropped so greatly, so quickly, the oil glut, that now oil operations in America are running out of money, and banks are foreclosing on rigs. The Balkan fields are shutting down. So all of our growth in oil production is being backtracked to 5 years ago. So we really don't have a tremendous amount of oil production anymore. That's 6-month-old information.
We used to have Quaker State here in Pennsylvania. It was called Oil City, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And they moved, they shut everything down, like right before the war. Because my dad retired as a colonel in the U.S. Army at Fort Lee, Virginia. He retired back in 1993. And when he came up here from Fort Lee, from Virginia, he was looking for a job, and he thought he would be able to get something for the oil that we were drilling in Oil City. They closed their doors and went back down to Texas. Now that was Quaker State.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that had Quaker State was supposedly with Exxon, and now the oil is so cheap. Why is it so cheap? How come they were charging us $5 here for a gallon of gas, and now all of a sudden it's down to $1.69?
Yeah, well, I uncovered another huge problem. Today. I mailed a package off, a 13-pound package, for $50 to go from here to Alabama. $50, and that was the lowest cost.
Crazy.
And you know, these FedEx and UPS and USPS have not dropped their rates one iota since the price of gas dropped in half. So you know they're just screwing everybody over. Everywhere we turn, they're trying to gouge us. So it's killing our retail business. People running eBay businesses have a hard time paying for shipping. We have a hard time attracting sales because shipping costs are so high, and you have to build that into the price. So basically, our government is screwing our country over by not regulating the shipping industry, for one.
The city that I come from used to be nothing but unions, steel workers. And now all the union steel workers are closed up. We only have, like, Ampler Steel. We have GE, but GE's laying off 1,500 people, and they want to, like, ship over to GE. I mean, not GE, but over to China. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
You know, why is our city going down? I mean, you know, it used to be a union town, now it's turning into a tourist town.
Yeah.
And now the price of oil's gone so down, and now we're in this war, everything's a buck. We got these plastic shops that, you know, they need oil to make the plastic. So what's going to happen? You know, I'm a little worried about my economic here in my own city.
Yeah.
We got 120,000 people living here.
Yep.
And the best job you can get is a nursing job. A lot of those nursing jobs are going out of my city because a lot of people are going out for nursing.
And then you got the people from Detroit, right? You got Detroit city gang members that are leaving Detroit, coming out to where you are in Pennsylvania.
Out to my city, yeah. And, you know, I don't blame Happy Bean not wanting to come over here because I grew up on the Lower East Side. This is where I grew up at. And at one time, the old timers used to call the cops on us when we played street ball. You step on the grass, they called the cops. To football hit their house, they called the cops. Now when you walk through my neighborhood, everything's all boarded up. It looks like a run-down, cracked neighborhood. And it's like, can't believe this. This is the neighborhood I grew up in, and everything looks like all crack houses. And so, there's been shootings. We got a lot of gang members coming in from Detroit, coming into Erie, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
And we also got gang members coming up from Pittsburgh. And I'm not gonna like walk out my door and be a punk.
No.
But I will wear a bulletproof jacket if I'm out like bar hopping or something,
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing but gun shootings right in my area.
I
live
it,
right on the Lower East Side.
And
if there's anything I could do to help stop it, I would, but it's not going to stop.
No.
They beefed up our police. They beefed up our police where it's like 3 squad cars to 1 person. If somebody called the cops on you, they sent 3 police officers. Not 1, not 2, 3 at a time.
Yeah. Well, it's very rare to have a decorated war hero on the phone call and talking about the real things that are happening in his life that he came back. So you came back to your area and you saw it degrade from when you left. So
yeah, that was like 20-some years ago. I mean, I haven't been on the east side since since I was 17 years old. We moved up in the upper west side, and then my parents sold all those houses and everything that they had over here up on the Lower East Side, and next thing you know, you're walking on through. It's like, I thought that dude was going to take care of that house. What happened to him? He's still alive, and look at that house. It looks like a rundown crack house. It's all boarded up.
I believe it.
I don't like living here, but I have no choice but to live here. This is where my family's at. So.
And your business and everything, yeah. So,
I'd say the only person I have actually left. I come from a small family. We were a tight family when my grandparents were alive. It was me and my brother, my sister, and then my parents, and then I have an uncle, and I have 1 cousin, and then I have my grandparents. But they're all dead. My mom's dead, my uncle's dead. The only person that's actually alive is my dad. He's the only one that's actually, and we're afraid that he goes to these private Polish clubs and everything, but we're afraid that he's going to come walking on out and there's going to be a drive-by.
Yeah.
I'm always telling Pops, give me a call when it's a Friday night so that way I can get you home,
Yeah.
But he never does. He doesn't think anything's going to happen to him.
Well, the Polish population,
might happen to him,
It could happen, yeah. The Polish population in Dearborn, Michigan have run head-to-head with the Muslim population. So there's an old Polish
my dad's from
enclave there.
Michigan, and he grew up in Albion.
Yeah.
Born and raised in Jackson, but did his high school in Albion at Buffalo High.
Thank you.
And when he went back up there, I mean, he couldn't believe the way the neighborhood was up there.
Yeah.
After they closed down General Motors, it's kind of like the whole south side of Detroit went to poops. And
I hear you, man.
Took a trip up there, you could just see my dad's face. He was ready to cry because of where he grew up at.
I know.
When his dad passed away, he went to Nebraska, Boys Town in Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
He ran away from there, and he went to a best friend. And his mom was the one who adopted my dad when he was in through all that. But when he was telling me the way things looked back in the day, he's like, man, I am so surprised. He was ready to cry. He was ready to lose it.
Wow.
But we got like 6 different prime ministers, presidents, whatever, looking at each other. And I can tell you right now, President Obama's looking at Russia, and that's going to be a nasty war if it breaks out here.
Oh, yeah.
The thing that I don't understand is why they want to try to take our gun rights away. They haven't taken my gun rights away. I told you guys that I like to go hunting with a crossbow.
Oh, really? Okay.
But I love hunting. I love bow fishing, even though it's illegal here. But I still do it anyway.
Yeah. I went to.
They want to take our gun rights away.
Yeah, we have a big gun state.
With PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
They diagnosed me with PTSD, and then you hear Obama screaming the mental illness needs to be restricted on gun rights.
I heard that.
You know what? I'll bury my guns before you come knocking on my door.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
In the ground.
There's no reason for people who suffer from PTSD to all randomly have their guns taken away. That's ridiculous. The restriction that I have is that you physically, if you've expressed a desire to kill people here in America, because that's what you did overseas as a job. But if you desire to do that, then there would be a problem. If you've expressed that to other people,
It was a year and a half after I got out of the Marine Corps that when they diagnosed me with PTSD. And I'm going to tell you the symptoms that I suffered. I suffered bad nightmares. I suffered flashbacks, and I couldn't sleep.
There you go.
So I went in, checked myself into the VA.
Yep.
They diagnosed me PTSD.
Yep.
Now, with all these false flag operations going on, Obama's crying that we need to keep the guns out of the mentally ill. Well, you know how many of those military people that came back here was diagnosed PTSD, and now they want to take our gun rights away?
That's ridiculous. It's not the criteria I would follow. That's for sure. I would never follow just PTSD being their criteria. First of all, the government trying to seize our gun rights is a violation of our Second Amendment. If the Democrats want to get rid of our Second Amendment, they better overturn it with an amendment process. They need 2/3 just to get it on a ballot, and 2/3 of the states, they need 3/4 of the states to ratify it. I don't see the Democrats getting anywhere near that number to stop our ability to bear gun rights. We definitely.
Everybody wants to vote for Trump because of the things that he's done for himself and his own life. But how many bankruptcies did he end up facing?
4.
Before he was able to make it up on his own 2 feet.
I know.
I remember when I was stationed at Fort Ellis out there in Vegas, and he was building his motel out there. He still has his motel out there, but he also ended up filing a lot of bankruptcies under the paperwork to New York City of some of the places that he opened up. I think it was the Ritz Motel that he owns out there in New York City. I think that was filed up on bankruptcy, but he was able to save it and turn it into some, which I'm really happy for him. I mean, he's a good businessman. But what we need in office is someone that's going to be militarized to understand what we're going through overseas.
Right.
Where we put troops over there. When Reagan found out that Libya bombed 200 Marines, what did Reagan do? He closed it up and got everybody out of there. He was like, okay, you don't want us here, then we're out.
Well, look what happened with Reagan. Reagan was the president when our 200 men died in Lebanon. We were they had rubber bullets. All of them were armed with rubber bullets, and
we lost.
Well, Ronald Reagan makes sure that they all had rubber bullets, and they couldn't defend themselves, and 200 Marines died that day. It's pretty sad that our country looks at Reagan as some beacon of example of strength.
Question mark. There's a big question mark right above Hillary's head about Bozzy.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of questions that she's not answering, and I watched that 11-hour movie or that 11-hour show that she put on.
Mm-hmm.
In front of the senators.
Oh, I know you did.
How she was beating around the bush. How she was like coughing and then drinking some water, trying to think of what to say before she was able to answer it.
Yeah.
We don't need Hillary in office.
No.
Sure as hell don't need Trump in office. He's nothing but a businessman.
Right.
Now, if he was military and businessman, then okay, I can understand why we want him in office.
Right.
What we need somebody military to go and understand what we're going through over there.
Yeah, we don't have any long-term projections. We have no long-term strategies.
Because you didn't join the military. I'm just saying what we need.
Yeah, I didn't join, but I signed up for selective service. Yeah. Look, I was raised in a military family. My father was a decorated war hero from World War II. He went back for 3 tours of duty. My mother was a Marine. I grew up in a Marine military home, essentially. And I can tell you that mentality that you got in boot camp was drilled into me as a child. So I definitely have the backbone to take this nation to the next step. Not fight wars, but solve problems and basically contain populated areas. We've been spreading each other, all of our troops out there along the fish hook with Pakistan, Afghanistan. We don't need to spend tons of money putting men in harm's way with bad, faulty weapons like M4s that jam. We need to focus on just the populated regions like Kandahar and Kabul and obviously Baghdad. And then that limits the amount of investment we put into the region, and it gives us a long-term strategy. We don't have that right now. We've got a very loose strategy overseas. We're starting wars. We're seeding economic hits on countries. Our country actually supported terrorists during the Libyan attack on Muammar Gaddafi.
I know.
People don't know that.
That's the disgusting part.
Yeah.
That we're supporting the terrorists. This is a civil war between the Muslims and the Muslims. We shouldn't even be involved with any of this.
Well, the idea, this is a strange, weird world we're living in. Yeah.
Here we want to take out Assad. But yet Putin wants to protect them. So knowing that our government wants to take out the Syrian government, and you got Putin backing them up. Well, Assad, he was in the military in Russia. He was an air flight. He was a pilot for the Russian military. And then he went to Syria and became a prime minister, whatever he is over there. And now Putin's backing him up. Our government wants to take him out.
Yeah.
And that's going to lead nothing but nose to nose between us and Russia.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now, Russia's not going to play.
No, they're not going to
play. What they're going to do is just start throwing missiles at us. They ain't going to send no troops over here. He knows that everybody's got a gun. You shoot at us, we're going to fire back. Americans are patriots.
All right.
We're going to fight to no end. We're going to fight to no end.
I know. Transcender. Transcender says I'm gone. This is boring. Transcender. You remind me of a typical Democrat who doesn't understand the commitment that people like Dupster have made in their lives to protect this nation. Many of you Democrats, like Obama, said that the men lost their lives in vain. You have no idea the level of commitment these men and women have in their personal lives to go over there, fight a war, and you want to leave the room because this is boring. Then get the hell out of the room, Transgender. Literally, we don't need you here.
Let them go.
Go.
Yeah, let them go. We don't need the ignorant people up in our room. Let them go. I see it every night. That's why I don't really chat when I see all the ignorancy about Sarah. This is what Dave's doing. He's doing this.
Yeah.
No, we don't need none of that. If y'all ain't happy, go about your business, man. We ain't going to feed into your troll bullshit. Just go. Just go ahead and go. Because you know what? The true people that support Dave is actually going to be there, like myself, Sister Fight, and DT, Laura, everybody else.
Yeah.
You know what? Just go.
Yeah.
Nobody wants you there.
Exactly.
You ain't going to support them. All you want to do is troll everybody, piss everybody off. And you ain't going to piss no one off. Just go about your business. But I do want to tell you something, Dave.
Yeah.
You got a pen and paper?
Yes.
You got a pen and paper?
I do.
Okay. Write this down. It's Raymond A. Eckendorf. Eckendorf. My grandfather was a war hero back in the Korea and also World War II. He's buried in memorial bunkers. He's a Navy hero. My dad, he's a war hero because he went to Vietnam.
Okay.
He didn't do Operation Desert Storm. He was stationed at Fort Lee at the time that it was all going on.
Okay.
But there's nobody in the family that was a Marine. I'm the first Marine that came out of this family.
Wow.
Everybody else was a Navy. Everybody else was Army. You can look that name up on Google, and boom, you can find them right there in Bunkers Memorial up in Nevada.
Was he born in 1988?
Right
Raymond, was he?
Sorry?
Was he born in 1888, or there was a Raymond?
My grandfather?
Yeah.
I think he was born 1924.
Okay.
I can't remember.
There's a couple of them out here.
I have to re-look at it.
Raymond Beckendorf, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Eckendorf.
Okay.
We're all Germans.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we have Germanic heritage.
I'm sure it pissed off Hitler that my grandfather was a war hero for the Americans than he was for his own country.
Well, there are 53% of our country has Germanic heritage. And when I was running in 2008 against Obama, I was running as a write-in candidate. People said, "Oh, nobody's going to like your name. Nobody's going to like your name, David Sponheim." And they prefer Obama. And here we have 53% Germanic heritage in this country. Unreal.
Well, they said the same thing about the Eckendorfs. My grandfather went over to East Germany when he was in the Army, and he was doing a lot of research. And he brought back a lot of paperwork that the last name Eckendorf would have been treated as a king somewhere in Germany. I can't remember where. But with that last name, people would have worshipped him because of his last name, and I can't understand why. And I'm still trying to figure out why that was, because I'm always doing research when I got the time I can do it,
Yeah.
And nothing was really explained I can't ask my mom because she passed away in 2011. I can't ask my uncle because he passed away in 2013. And my dad doesn't even know anything about that. And I remember when I was like 14 years old, my grandfather came back. I mean, not my grandfather, but my uncle came back with the paperwork and showed everything about the Eckendorf side of the family.
Yeah.
My grandfather is an Eckendorf. My mom and my uncle, they were brother and sister. They were Eckendorfs. We had priests, we had nuns in our family.
Okay.
And from what I understand, we were all tight from the Catholic side of the family in the German side.
Yeah.
But we were never in a German war except for my grandfather, but he was, on the American side.
All right, so we basically would love to talk about the history of our families. I have a Sponheim Castle I'd like to talk about, but unfortunately, our audience really, they want to talk about conspiracy theories tonight. So.
Yeah, I know. Everybody's getting bored, and they're all saying, okay, I'm out of here. I understand that. But I just wanted to let you know that, with the 6 different prime ministers, the government, the presidents, I think we're facing something serious.
Yeah.
When they say that they're sending 350,000 troops right there on the border, we need to prepare ourselves. And the whole purpose of this phone call was, to talk to you about the politics and everything. I didn't mean to get into about my family business.
No, that's okay. That's fine.
It led there.
But anyway, I appreciate your concern about the future, and with the potential for war and World War III right now, sitting right on the edge. I never thought it would get to this point, but here we are. Yeah, amazing.
Once we get you in office, how is things going to change? I mean, that's my main question. Knowing that we're facing war, how is that going to change if you're in office?
Well, I will pull out. I will pull out of a certain.
I don't believe in the war.
Yeah, I don't either.
Bring our troops home.
I will make a phone call to Putin as president, and I will tell him that we are pulling our interests out of Syria. We'll maintain humanitarian assistance through Turkey and Jordan, but we will not in any way engage in the provocative behavior we've been involved in. It's a foolish attempt to take and dethrone Bashar al-Assad, and John Kerry is on a completely different page than Vladimir Putin on the issue of Assad. So clearly we've got a very misguided foreign policy that doesn't even get heard in the mainstream media, this issue about how we are funding and fueling an economic hit.
Do you realize what kind of mess we're going to be in when you become president and you pull out our troops out from overseas? You understand?
Not overseas, just Syria.
The mess that we're going to be facing when you pull our troops out of there and say we're done?
No.
That's what needs to be done. We're done.
We're done, yeah.
Pull them out because...
What mess? Let's look at the outcome. Let's look at the outcome. Syria obviously wants to be allied with Russia. We're not going to leave a mess there in Syria, but if we were to leave Iraq right now, it would negate all the work that you did, all the work that many men have died for. We actually have to maintain what I believe is a containment policy very similar to what Harry S. Truman had right after World War II. Not a policy of an aggressor like the preemptive strike policies of Henry Kissinger and George W. Bush,
right?
But rather a silent, strong ally to Iraq. Now, under Obama, we've already established he's been undermining the Iraqi government by funding Sunni and ISIL forces. It's crazy. So we've got to reverse some of those policies. All right.
If you want my honest opinion, I'll give it to you.
Go ahead.
I think we need to close down our military bases over the 120-some thousand or 120 countries that we have our military bases in, to pull them back. Because knowing that our military bases are overseas and we got boys overseas, and if Russia comes firing back at us, all we're going to have is civilians fighting with the military here.
I know.
And so, if you want my honest opinion, I think what we need to do is close down the embassies, pull our military troops back, put them back on American soil, surround up our borders. That way, we're all protected.
Right. Well, that is our plan. Bring our troops home. Bring our troops home and focus on getting our economy back on order without using the Federal Reserve to do it.
And if we need to cash in our gold just to make the payments to other countries, that's something that we need to do.
Right on.
What president was that did that? That when we faced heavy depression, and he wanted everybody's gold, and if you were caught with gold, you got a serious fine and jail time.
That was FDR.
What we need to do is have everybody cash in their gold, so that way we can support our country
Yeah.
get ourselves back up on the feet that we need to do.
I'm not going to do that, though. I'm not going to take gold down. I would never seize gold.
But China.
Yeah, we have gold overseas right now. We have gold overseas, and I want to get to that. We've acquired the gold from the Germans, and a lot of the gold from the Germans and a lot of the gold from the Japanese during the war. We never got our hands on it. It was shuttled away to the World Bank. There's $32 trillion in gold out there that would more than pay for the United States corporation's debt. And the United States of America could easily get back on track. All of us are essentially rich, but we don't know it. We just have to take our country back.
Know how much gold we got in the. I would seriously like to know how much gold we got left in that depository.
Yeah,
I would really like to know how much gold we got buried.
Well,
there.
they claim they have $460 billion there.
Protecting it.
They claim
last time they opened up the vaults, that was back in the 70s, and apparently the gold was there.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them open up the doors now and show us.
I would too. Fort Knox. Yeah, Fort Knox claims to have $460 billion in gold that's heavily guarded by Army contingencies. So.
But yet we're, my city bank is selling gold certificates. Gold,
Yeah.
what was it? Gold bonds.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm not putting my money into that.
No.
What I will do is I'll buy some gold coins from you, though. But I'm not going to buy no gold bonds.
No, bonds are not good.
Not going to do it.
Real gold. So there's a guy who trademarked Dupster. He's got a Dupster trademark. Beekman just found him out there. I guess they're making it's probably a marijuana supply store or something, like kind of like Willie Nelson's trying to produce. The Dupster TM. That's pretty funny.
You know the government will not take the marijuana money from that was dispensed in Colorado, Washington, and all these other places. They will not take it for the Federal Reserve.
I know.
There's a company in Colorado that's got $32 million, and they have no place to put it.
Right. Yeah, I heard about these companies.
Place to put it because the banks don't want to take it.
Exactly.
It's all drug money.
Yeah, the government needs to get this national legalization plan going. Otherwise, we're screwed. There's so many different things happening that we need to get going. If our banking community would embrace the legalization of marijuana, we would have a good flow through. The economy would begin to regenerate. Already states like Colorado and Washington are benefiting.
What is the difference between Federal Reserve and the government? Because apparently, if Colorado's making a big buck off of marijuana dispensaries and they have no place to put the money because the banks don't want to take it, what are we going to do with it? What is the difference between Federal Reserve and the government?
Well, there's a big difference.
The Federal Reserve want to take that drug money that's been dispensed for pleasure.
Well, they are laundering money using a lot of the money that the marijuana producers are creating. So there's a kind of a dark underworld of money right now with the marijuana producers because the banks won't accept it. So they can launder money through the drug dealers. That's not the way it should be done. Our government should be making a 15% tax. That's my opinion. And we should dole it back to the states per capita. And there shouldn't be any state taxes. Our state of Washington, it costs about $20 a gram. No, about $15 a gram for marijuana, which is a pretty high price to pay for marijuana. And that price should be more like $7 or $6.
To be honest with you, it's illegal for me to buy marijuana here, and I self-medicate, and it helps me through everything that I'm going through with my mental illness and everything.
Good, yeah. Definitely.
They won't legalize it.
I know.
They did legalize medical marijuana. They did legalize medical marijuana.
They did.
By state, but they didn't legalize it for recreation.
Well, why don't you get a prescription? I would think your doctor would give you a prescription.
And I buy it. I smoke it up when I self-medicate when I have a panic attack or something.
Yeah, but why doesn't your doctor give you a prescription if you have medical marijuana in Pennsylvania?
That's a good question. I asked my doctor the same thing.
Yeah, what's going on?
He just tells me, well, right now you're stable on your medications and we feel that you don't need them. No. And I'm like, yeah, well, you got me on Klonopin. You got me on Klonopin 5.5 milligrams, and that's really rough on my liver.
It is, yeah. You need to get off of that. Yeah.
Why don't you give me something that's actually going to help me calm me down?
Yeah.
And, he knows I smoke marijuana because I told him I do. Yeah. And he doesn't like it. And I told him, I was like, keep the Klonopin. Just give me the Seroquel that'll help me sleep at night so that way I can get my sleep. I need my 8 hours. He pumped me up 1,100 milligrams of Seroquel, and my insurance will not cover 1,100 milligrams of Seroquel.
Yeah.
And I only get 4 hours of sleep.
That's unreal.
And I get the generic versions,
Yeah.
So that way I can get them.
Have you ever tried indica? Have you ever tried the brand of indica? It really kind of makes you feel loggy and makes you sleepy. Indica is a brand.
No, I never tried that. Where would I find it?
Try it. You got to, in Vermont is deciding right now whether they're going to have a recreational marijuana law. If Vermont clears the recreational marijuana, it's the closest state to you. New York is close, but no, that's medical. The only other place you could go is Washington, D.C. to get marijuana of that any variety. But indica is a very heavy.
I can go to Washington. Oh my God, that's like a bus trip away.
There you go. I mean, just make sure there's a dispensary available for recreational use in Washington, D.C. But they can smoke at the Capitol.
I appreciate you telling me that.
Sure. And indica is the stuff that'll make you go to sleep. You shouldn't be on any of those big pharma drugs because your liver is jeopardized. You're right. And by the way,
They want to put me on lithium.
Oh,
They
man.
want to put me on lithium.
Unreal.
They want to put me on lithium, and I looked at my doctor. I was like, "Are you sure that's something that you want to put me on?" I'm a Marine vet.
Yeah.
I was like, "No one that I can get into trouble with the law with lithium. Is that something that you really want to do?" Because I'm going to tell you right now, you put me on it, I'm going to make sure that I'm in. Well, I'm not going to make sure, but I can tell you right now, I'm going to get in trouble with it.
Yeah.
Lithium messes with your head. 1 minute you're doing something, you don't even know that you're doing it.
I know.
And it's for people who are on bipolar, and now they're pushing it on people that are PTSD, and it's like a big question mark. Hello, why?
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a look at a situation.
They want to mess around with my medications, and I'm right now arguing with my doctors about it. And
Yeah,
it's
if I were you, I would just go with natural.
I'm going to change another doctor.
Good.
So you either keep me as your doctor because I know, you and I know each other.
Yeah.
Or I can go see another doctor until I can find someone that's not going to mess with my medications.
Yeah, just call up
I'm stable.
the medical marijuana dispensaries and ask them who their doctor is, and then get a referral, and then go there because that's what they do here in Washington.
Well, this is what I've been doing with marijuana. I don't use it for recreation. Every time I would have a panic attack or something, I would toke up. I self-medicate with it.
Okay.
I
think you'll benefit.
Attacks, I'm going to tell you, man, they're unbearable.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah, I can only imagine how horrible they are.
I hear a big bang coming out from the muffler of someone's car because they didn't put more oil into their engine.
Yeah.
I hear the bang.
And
that puts me in a panic attack.
Oh, I believe it. That sucks.
Jumping onto the floor.
Yeah, and you're feeling like your heart's pounding away. You're freaking out. Horrible. I've talked to people who've had panic attacks.
It feels like a whole elephant sitting on your chest.
Unreal.
That's a panic attack.
Wow.
And the doctor was like, "You're going to have these panic attacks, and it's going to feel like a heart attack, even though you're not going to go through a heart attack."
Yeah, I hear you.
So they want to put me on Klonopin, and it's like, no, I don't want Klonopin.
Yeah.
I already told the doctor I'm not taking Klonopin because I know how much damage it would do on my liver.
Well, Klonopin no longer has any warnings about the liver contraindications. Klonopin, they used to, when they first introduced it to society, they said, "Oh, big warning about liver." Now you can barely even find it in the contraindication list when you look at your paperwork. They've erased it. Liver damage is one of the biggest problems.
They erased everything from the paperwork, but if you go to WebMD, it'll tell you.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to let you go. Thanks for calling in. I got to take another call. All right.
All right. Catch you later, bub.
Take it easy, Doobster. Bye-bye. Okay, go ahead.
Call from
Foreskin.
to accept, press 1.
Okay,
Voicemail.
Foreskin.
Oops, your caller just hung up. 2 to call.
I guess Foreskin, you'll have to call back. I'm a little concerned. Sarah would have been home by now. I'm going to have to make a phone call to her, I think. I just don't know where she is. Yeah, I mean, usually she's in by now. No, she didn't leave me. It's just, she said she's going to be a little late, but I didn't expect it this late. This could be her at the door. It's usually what happens when... Yeah, when I talk... God. Ah, that's her. She's at the door. How about that? Psychically knew she was coming in the door. Okay. That was a good call from Doobster. Yeah, Chemtrail Cowboy. Thank you. Yeah, she's a very active teacher. She's constantly improving her skill set. she's really a beacon of hope for a lot of teachers because she's been dealing with, kids just don't seem to be, 100% nowadays across the board. And recent statistic came out, said that 20% or 50% of all kids by the year 2020 will have ADHD and autism. 50%. So if your family is concerned about your kids, you have a right to be. And teachers are having to gear up for all these different challenges so that they can get kids educated in this tough environment. No, he's the real deal. Dubster I really believe that his war record is exemplary, and we should all be very grateful that we have a person who speaks out on issues like this, who calls in and doesn't hesitate to talk about what's going on. Oh, take your time. We're good. Thank you. I'm just glad you're home. I was about ready to call you. That's okay. I'm glad you did what you had to do. Okay, we've got a few of the links we want to look at here that are important. Workers at Tesla Gigafactory stage a mass walkout protesting out-of-state employees. The Gigafactory out there in, Nevada, near Reno? They're outsourcing employees, and Tesla's doing what other big corporate guys are doing, and that's really pissing off the employees. All is not well in the non-GAAP paradise known as Tesla's Gigafactory, where labor tensions are suddenly running high. At least 100 workers on the construction site for Tesla's massive and taxpayer-subsidized battery factory near Reno walked off the job. Interesting. Wow, that's the big factory. And then a pro-Constitution sheriff is under attack in Oregon. This guy, I believe, was involved in the Loy Finicum situation, although I'm not sure. Or no, it could have been the Umpqua College shooting.
And by that afternoon on July 27, and possible rash, he was taken to the hospital.
You're listening to the Corbett Report.
And so there.
Okay, I'm gonna have to wait for later on tonight for that one. That's something we'll play after our show. Yeah, thanks for the link. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
As Fukushima continues leaking, 3 former TEPCO executives are charged with negligence.
Wow.
So finally, TEPCO is being held accountable 4 years after a major event. And you got something on GMO scientist propaganda biotech? Okay. Okay, cool. So how was your day?
It was good.
Good. It went well?
Sorry it took so long.
Well, I'm glad you did it.
I just
That's
went
good.
to a meeting afterwards.
Okay, cool. Well, I need to take a bathroom break, so
yeah, I'm sure.
I will be back to do that.
It took so long.
No problem. That's okay. This is Sarah, by the way.
I'm Sarah. I don't do shots of whiskey. 686. That doesn't happen. I'm a clean, straight edge lady. Teetotaler. That's what I am. Well, I don't know. These are called earrings hanging from my earlobes. Oh, what happens, 126? Just breathe. It's all good. I don't think so, Sponheim Squarepant. He knows I'm totally loyal to him always. Oh, well, that's fine with me, Ticken. It happens. I know. Well, I went to a government meeting. Say that? No, Ralphers, never. I would never do that. You take shots of whiskey when you're allowed to? Happy Bean says, yes, I'm on it. You're joking? She tells you when you can take shots of whiskeys. I like those little hearts in your eyes, 805. I've been waiting for a girl like you to come into my life. My coding is so simple, like anyone can do it. I just teach people binary. And I talk to my dad about the 16-bit means that it's looking at 16 hours at a time. Sorry, Ralphers. I do that. I kill songs. Is it possible? I think anything is possible. 460. So how have you all been? Maybe, but and so I got the person I wanted. 251. I could have anyone I wanted, and I got the one I wanted. Oh. 513, that does sound like a bad mixture for sure. When you're reading a 16-bit encoded something, a computer's looking at 16 wires at once and saying which ones are off and which ones are on, which ones have a closed circuit, which ones have an open circuit. Didn't win the lottery? Well, there's always next time. Keep playing. So close. Yeah, well, yes, I can help you with a course on fractions. Basically, with fractions, it's parts out of a whole. So, if it's 1/2, that's one part that makes up two of the parts make a whole. The number on bottom, the denominator, makes a whole. And the number on top makes is how many pieces. Now, when you have 1/2 and 1/3, you can't just add them together. You need to make what's called a common denominator. Because the pieces aren't the same size. Basically, you need to make the same size pieces. So you can cut your halves into 3 pieces and cut your thirds into half pieces. And then if you look at the things, each of them will have 6 pieces. So if each of them has 6 pieces and you're talking about half of that, that's 3 out of the 6. 3 out of 6 is half. I don't like algebra. I love fractions. It's all about food and pizza. Well, what should it be about, 285? Pieces of paper? What would you like it to be about? So anyway, back to 1/2 plus 1/3. 1/2 is really 3/6. 1/3 is really 2/6, so that becomes 5/6. 1/2 plus 2/3 is really 3/6 plus 4/6, so that becomes 7/6, which is more than a whole thing. So then you can become a mixed number, which would be 1 and 1/6. What is more infinite amount of numbers or an infinite amount of fracti? What is more, an infinite amount of numbers or an infinite amount of fracti? Well, I would say they're equal. If you're talking about infinity, infinity versus infinity is equal. Infinity. Wow. Brink of World War III. The question is, you already have kids to take care of your own. And are you going to be a dad to these kiddos too? Because even though she says she wants to leave her man and her kids, a woman never truly leaves her kids. Yes, if you have a half a pizza and 3/4 of another pizza, you can put it together so it looks like a full pizza, but you'll actually have a piece left over. Hello, Fred the Trucker. Thanks, I like these earrings too. I know. You need to know it in the military. Past participles. Yes, I always get confused a little bit with English, but past tense happened before. Now with participles is it was and have. That's the one I sometimes get confused on, because I don't use it on a daily basis. Yes, exactly. Infinity means numbers go on and on forever, whether they're whole numbers or infinite numbers. Oh, all right, Dupster. Sounds good. See, I actually have to Google participles because I sometimes confuse participles and participial phrases. There we go. I know. I'm like looking at it. Words that are formed from verbs but act as adjectives. It's easy to see that they modify nouns and pronouns because they're diagrammed on a slanted curved line. Okay. So most likely certain things end with O. Shooting star. Oh, that's kind of cool. Words that are formed from verbs but don't act as verbs are called verbals. There's also gerunds, and infinitives. Crying babies, crying is a verb, so the participle becomes crying. Frozen food. Okay, nice. All right. It modifies noun babies. All right, nice. Thank you. I refreshed my memory about participles. A part in a measuring cup. Oh, when they okay, so when they say 1 part water, 2 parts 1 part rice, 2 parts water. That's, for instance, a way to make rice. Well, it doesn't really matter how much rice you start with, as long as whatever you use to measure your rice, they say 1 part rice, 2 parts water. Whatever you use to measure your rice, use that same device and use it to measure 2 of that amount of water. So if you're making a small batch of rice, you'll use like a cup of rice and 2 cups of water. If you're making a large batch of rice, you'll maybe put like a liter of rice and 2 liters of water. So it's really, when they talk about parts, sometimes they talk about parts in the cup, but really if you're doubling its recipe, or you're making a larger recipe, when they say 1 part this, 2 parts that, you can make a small amount for that recipe or a large amount for the recipe. Are you laughing at me, 251? You say you're crying because you did not know that, but I think you're crying because you're kind of laughing at me. Because you're like, come on, Sarah, seriously? I know, it's all good. I don't mind you laughing at me. I know, I take everything people say like totally seriously. So if they ask me something, it's like, I know, exactly. Duh. Anyway, but I talk to people like, if you ask me a question, what do they mean by this? I'm going to treat you like I do. Like I'm a teacher and like you actually don't know what you're asking. Anyway. You take a recipe and you can split it into its parts, 285. So the whole recipe is everything put together, and parts of it are parts of the recipe. How much of the recipe? It all depends. Yes, exactly. We need a hand raising emoji. Hello. Or the both raising. Hey, hello, oh. All right. What's the difference between a cat and a comma? A cat has claws at the ends of its paws. A comma is a pause at the end of a clause. Ooh, I like that. I'm going to write that down because that's almost funny and actually kind of cool. What do I mean about what I just said? I don't know, but you might want to start your question with a capital letter. Okay. Well, I have to do that. A comma is a pause at the end of a clause. It's really cute. I like that. Sarah likes that. Alright, I'm gonna get rid of this. There we go. You don't like my eyeshadow? This isn't heavy enough for you? This is what I always wear. It's so cute, though. And he's taking a little bit longer because... No, he didn't. He's just taking his time because I took my time getting here. Well, it's a way to get people to know about commas. Anybody you want to know about anything, you got to compare it to a cat.
Do you want chicken soup?
Well, I have some rice in the.
You want hot chicken soup instead? You
yeah,
can
I do.
That.
Can you put my rice in the fridge?
I put in the fridge, yeah.
Thank you. They went to the store. It went. Actually, Beekman, if it's one entity, it went to the store. I don't know what that is. 285, what you're referring to. Darker. I suppose I can do that, brink of World War III. I can try. Oh, you just hit a wrong button and oh wait. So now I have to go up and see what it is that you were referring to. 682 aka 251. A smile because you're laughing at me. We need a hand raising emoji. Okay. I don't have anything like that. I don't know what you were talking about. Ralph was saying something about some weird ritual. Wave! Hello, lols. Alright. The comma... Wait, I almost missed Mail TV2's thing. Okay. Alright. Bye, Sarah. Well, if you're gonna buy me an emoji, I'd have to take out all this other stuff behind me, so that would be good. Whatever grade they need me to teach, 682. And I learn all the time. I walked into a bar and it hurt. No, I don't go to bars very often. Nope. I did not go to a bar tonight either. It's cute. That's so cute. Okay, I do like that one. The snow coat, the blue coat I'm wearing, I got from my grandmother. It was a lot larger on me, and I took it and I altered it. What do I do for fun? I like to read, but now I've been listening to books on tapes. That's sometimes what I do for fun. I like to do coding. Well, not really. I like to go to code.org. And I like to hang around techie people. I smile for fun, that's true. No, I didn't watch them. I don't have cable or regular TV, Beekman, so I didn't watch them. I do. I usually watch. Yes, actually, that's true. That's what I do for fun. I like to watch Netflix, and usually when I watch Netflix, it's something about like girl. It's usually chick flick ones. The cat's like, forget this. That's cute. I like that. Neither am I. It's on free TV, but I don't have free TV. I live too far out from the boonies to actually have that. I know, I do binge watch Netflix, it's true. But I try to limit myself to like maybe 3 shows a day. So I get into these series and I binge watch the series, something like that. Had you worried? Okay, what language am I coding in? I right now I use a code called Blockly. Code.org. Just like it's a way to learn JavaScripting using Blockly, little blocks of code. So that's kind of cool. I would like to learn, but I actually would like to learn maybe some MySQL, which isn't really a language, but I mean, you know what I'm saying. I agree. Yes, that's right. I don't actually do the coding. I like to say I do coding, but do I actually do coding? Not really.
You've been to W3 schools.
Yes,
yeah.
I've been to W3 schools a lot. I've learned HTML there. I learned I go there to try to learn a little bit of PHP. I have heard of Roblox. You told me that about last time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty much me when I was growing up. Sandwich bread, hot dog bun, hamburger bun, garlic bread, all of that. That was me growing up.
That the bread that did everything.
Different.
I was raised up until the age of 9 years old on Wonder Bread. And I can tell you it's a wonder I even survived past 9. But I went to wheat bread after that, and now I'm avoiding non-GMO. I mean, anything that's GMO, I'm avoiding. So
you're in high demand, then,
yeah.
Master Meatball. You can be my teacher.
Gonna warm your hands on the cup.
Sure.
Now I made you hot chicken soup.
Okay.
It's in the microwave, so you can kind of get fortified with that.
How does they say white bread is better than wheat bread?
I don't like white bread. I really feel like it's bleached out. They use actual chlorine in the production of the bleached flour.
I have heard pearl is very cool. I haven't done that.
I grew up on Wonder Bread. But frankly,
I've dabbled in.
I think getting into wheat bread helped me become addicted to wheat. So I can't say that's the best thing because I've got I have to fight the urge because I love the feeling it gives you.
Now, Master Meatball, I actually have done a tiny bit of coding with Ruby on Rails, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. It was so fun.
Okay, so
but
conspiracies,
I just want to say, I know David needs to get back to his conspiracy show. I was just going to say, though, the problem is I got away from Ruby on Rails only because my server that I was using at the time didn't support it. So I have to build my own server if I really wanted to use it.
You have to get past the obstacle. Whenever you face an obstacle with technology, you have to bridge past it in order to succeed.
But it was a lot of fun. I actually enjoyed learning it.
Yeah. Conspiracy Monday was a show talking about how wars are created, economic hits on countries. We talked to Dupster about Iraq and our involvement in Afghanistan, as well as he was in Fallujah. So we had a really good war discussion, and we really have to discuss the simple fact that money controls our country right now. And if everyone thinks this is just a guarantee that, oh yeah, that's a given, you have to accept that fact, David. We really have a real personal moral issue to make, decision to make, all of us, as to whether we want money to direct our future. Because we have a valuable tool with politics. It's the only way the American people are actually going to change their destiny is by getting together and sharing political ideas, not cash over the barrelhead, not the Clinton initiative or Donald Trump buying the election. So this is a bigger chance right now for us to actually do something real, substantive for the future of this country, as opposed to money buying our future. That's what we're all about right now. Our donation page is right there. You're looking at it. The donation page is on our website, AmericasThirdParty.com. You hit the donation button and just click on it and you'll go right to our donation page. Okay, the new Raspberry Pi has built-in Wi-Fi. Yeah.
I have to say, as far as hardware goes, I like a company called Liquidware.
Yeah. Liquidware, where did we see those? At the Interop?
No, Liquidware is, we saw Alienware at,
Alienware, yeah.
Yeah, but then I found out about Liquidware. Liquidware is basically a company that makes hardware, and they are, They're basically engineers that make hardware.
Really? So they
I
make
know
hardware that
Sarah
is
does
directed.
not bother with the actual coding. She just likes hanging around people that can code.
So they make hardware that is actually codable? You can create a hardware security system using liquidware?
Yeah, David Doopster. David's actually been thinking about that. He's been talking about that offline. He'll talk about that.
Right.
He'll let you know what you need to do to help with Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we're actually getting some information sent to me. We got an email
Yes.
from the Election Bureau last week, so I gave them our address. So at our mailbox tomorrow, I'll check. We should have something from Pennsylvania, I hope. Yes, indeed. So I was talking at the beginning of our show about the dangers of artificial intelligence. That's kind of the theme tonight, and the rich people controlling our destiny. Those two things combined create a very dangerous, like a perfect storm where humans are going to be turned into, depopulated for one. That's their big goal, is to depopulate. But when they put the artificial intelligence task together to come up with how to solve the world's problems, they simply factored in two variables: humans and their resources. Not an adaptive human model where humans conquer the problems and survive. For instance, with a carbon pollution problem, we would filter carbon, ideally, but the computer system was not fed that data. It was merely told you how will the planet evolve if it was just, human population growing, not stopping any carbon pollution, not clean air or waters, nothing. None of those variables were included. And consequently, AI came out with the simple determination that they need to get rid of 95% of the human population. And they need to do it soon. That inspires a series of conspiracy theorists that would make anyone shiver in their clothes as to what the future beholds for America, or for anyone for that matter, on this planet. So we really are up against a huge AI attack, essentially. Far worse than any alien invasion discussion we could have tonight, because that's kind of a joke to me. I mean, if you guys could present solid evidence of aliens' existence, I would be more than willing to discuss aliens. Yeah, it's a gradual process. The culling is happening now, you're right. And shiver my timbers.
Maybe.
It could be cancer. It could be people just, getting old quicker. Who knows? Working to death. Some of you people are working to death. Some of you are sitting around doing nothing. So what's happening tonight? You're going to turn your show on and enjoy yourself. Have your chicken soup.
I think
and relax. You worked so hard today.
I'm so sorry.
No, I mean, you look at how late she worked with her team when she visits.
Well, then I also went to a meeting.
Yeah, and then you're so active. A board meeting. I mean, who goes to board meetings?
A lot of people.
I mean, that Sarah goes. I'm just. See how committed she is
actually.
to that. You had fun. Good.
I would probably go to all of them.
Well, you should. Maybe you should run for the board.
I can't when I'm a teacher.
Oh, okay. Teachers aren't allowed to run for the board.
And then I have to live in the actual area, and I don't live in I don't know. I could run for Coopville board.
Yeah, I'm gonna just sit here and levitate while we watch the show here, talking to the people in the show.
Right.
Thanks for coming in.
You're awesome.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Keep going.
She gave me a little
Do you want
break.
more break or?
No, I'm good.
Okay. I know it's conspiracy night anyway, so.
Yeah, I turned the heater on in the other room, so you should have that going for you too. We still have these zone heating requirements going on in the house. Normally people pay about $400 a month to heat a house of our house, like 2,000 square feet. And we're doing this for about $125. Price of electricity kind of went up out here. And why is that? Why is it electricity is increasing? Why is it the cost of shipping is expensive? I spent $50 to ship a box today from Washington to Alabama. Okay, we got Doopster on again. We don't want to miss some of these issues. Go ahead, Doopster. What is it?
Hey, can you play? Hey, can you play this video for me so that everyone knows that they see me? Hey, I just got one question. Can you play this video for me?
Yep, go ahead. Go ahead and put it in the link in the room. All right, just go ahead and put it in the room. There you go. Okay. He wants us to show the viewer, what's going on here. He takes the dive in Lake Erie. Check this out, everybody. Take care, man. I'll talk to you later. I'll play it later.
I walked in it, and I walked out of it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Please.
I'm playing it. All right, that was amazing, man. Amazing. Wow, he really jumped in there, and that type of commitment to something is so amazing to see that. That's the kind of commitment that saved his life overseas. You see? Yeah, true Marine activity. Not afraid
hey guys,
to do
it's
anything.
KJ from the Scariest Movie Ever channel on YouTube.
Hey,
and did you realize that the Super Bowl 2016 was the third most watched program in recorded history?
Oh, really? Okay.
That really says a lot.
It does?
It's well known that advertisers will pay millions and millions of dollars for a 30-second spot. Now this, to me, has always been very clear evidence of mind control.
I would, this is exactly what I'm talking about tonight. Mind control at the Super Bowl. That'll be fun. Yeah, so let's just kind of talk and share, because it's been so fun since 5 o'clock. We've had a nonstop discussion about so many things tonight, and we really haven't touched on some of the nitty-gritty problems in the country. We've got a radiation leak in St. Louis in a landfill that is getting very close, within 1,000 feet of a populated area. Yeah. And it's potentially a huge problem in New York. There's a reactor that's behaving strangely, a nuclear reactor. We don't get to hear about that in the mainstream media. And there's also this other incredible Fukushima crisis. We just saw the TEPCO story just now in the room. And then this story. Former scientists, GMO scientists, expose outright lies and propaganda of the biotech industry. I mean, they don't want to talk about what's really going on, and they don't want to, they hurt people, scientists that, have solutions to the vaccination issue, why vaccines are dangerous. And then now this. Thierry Brain, who spent many years as a research scientist and genetically modified organism advocate for Agriculture Canada, has recently gone public with his conclusion that GMOs are dangerous for humans, animals, and the environment. Cool. Okay, so he was a GMO guy, and he says they're dangerous. All right, cool. I think we're done there. Seeds of Death, yes, we have that video. Very good video by Gary Null. Okay, yeah, we're just kind of piecing things together. We know they're screwing over our environment. We know for a fact that they're killing us off slowly and they're not cleaning up the food chain. We know for a fact that they're actually pushing GMO soybean products on the American people. We know for a fact that the World Health Organization had made a disclaimer recently saying people who are eating processed meat are of a higher risk of cancer. Yet they don't want to talk about the dangers of radio frequencies, which is also a huge issue, but our government's never even said anything, so they're willing to put our cell phones up against our ears and cause us to get brain tumors. Oh boy, what else are they doing or not doing? This is fun, yeah. How is Gary Null a shill? Hair is the word, yes. Go ahead. Hannaford contamination. Oh, did I mention Hannaford Nuclear Waste Repository, right? And then Louis Farrakhan's coming out against Hillary Clinton, claiming, don't fall for Satan. Wow. God, there's so many good things to talk about. Okay. Sunday at the Nation of Islam, Farrakhan said, don't fall for Democratic president candidate Hillary Clinton's crap on African American issues. She already won it with South Carolina African American votes, so he's coming in a little late. It's probably just damage control. Hanford contamination spread across the public highway now. And our Governor Jay Inslee, when he first started in Washington, said that he was going to clean up this problem. And then we never heard from him again on the issue. I will watch his videos, yeah. Hanford. That's what I said, Hanford. Thank you. You thought I said Hannaford? Fall windstorm spread radioactive contaminant across Route 4 north of Richland. Some contamination likely spread by plants and animals. EPA requires report from the DOE in April. This is a mess. There's 160 million gallon tanks. Yeah, there's 1 million gallons in each tank. And there's 160 of them. Nice, huh? And it's getting very close to leaching into the Columbia River, if not already. And so our government's not doing a damn thing about that either. Obama shut down Yucca Flats. Didn't even bother using a $7 billion potential decontamination zone in a storage area. I will take Yucca Flats and we'll build a fast breeder reactor right there to get rid of 97% of the nuclear fuel that's stored illegally in our nation right now. So little has been done. We're just sitting waiting for, what, Godot? Or the shoe to drop? And all of us are just sitting there going, well, maybe Trump will, no, well, maybe Hillary, no. They won't even talk about these issues. Yucca Flat Mountain, that's right. Well, more EPA regulations is not the way to go, ironically, because the EPA has been using their muscle to pave the way for illegal mining activities in areas like Colorado. You know that big, huge cyanide dump that happened? The EPA did that. And the reason why they did that is they opened up tons of land to be utilized by corporate America or industrial foreign companies to come in and mine our land for as low as $5 per acre. That's going down too. I mean, Conspiracy Monday could just be one problem after another, because every one of these are not being addressed by the conspiratorial two-party system. Obama never was president, unless you want to call it by name. He was like the president of a company, but he wasn't president of the United States of America in my eyes. The election was rigged. The whole system is a joke. The United States Corporation appoints a president or a CEO, and I believe Obama was selected. I don't believe he worked his way through the ranks. I believe he was implanted there. No doubt some sort of an agent from his early days with his mother. They both worked for the CIA at one point. So to say that he was some grassroots organizer that worked through the communities of Chicago, excuse me, but I've read a lot more history than you may have, and I can tell you Obama's roots are dark and clandestine. He virtually dates back to the cult of Cebu in Indonesia, where he and his mother lived. I'm serious. It's a very weird story, a tale that many of you have never even heard. And if you have watched your show incessantly every night, you've heard it 50,000 times. But it's worth looking at. And later tonight, I'll be playing the shocking image of what may very well be Obama's real father. A man by the name of Mohammed Sabu, a cult leader from the 1950s and 60s. Breaking news. And a heavily documented. Anyway, we're going to show you a picture of that right there. The cult leader is named Mohammed Sabu. He literally looks just like Barack Obama. And when you hear this story, it's so strange, and it's connected to the director of health at the Hawaii, who brought, or allegedly gave permission to get that long-form birth certificate presented, which many experts say is a complete fraud or a forged document. Well, this person is the leader, or was the leader of a cult. He's passed away now, but I've never seen a more physical match to Barack Obama than this guy. So the story of Obama is becoming kind of a null and void issue. Many of you are going to want to avoid it, and obviously it's of no value to talk about it, so we'll play that for you later tonight. But the birther issue is always an issue that I brought up 4 years ahead of Donald Trump. All right, cool. No, I don't think East Coast Vegas has the clothing necessary to run for office. He needs to step it up a notch. Well, yeah, speaking in front of a teleprompter is not that hard. I've never done it, but I can tell reading off a teleprompter would be fairly easy. I've never used a teleprompter, and I've never engaged in that type of discussion where it's prepped for me in this show. Silver is still hovering. Gold is now dropping. Really interesting the way the gold and silver markets have reacted. And the Dow is still kind of hovering. Yeah, not a lot going on. New black site satellite footage from Giraffe Brain. No, I have 15 ties. I'm good. Any more than that would be extensive. No. I can't listen to ads. All these people now are trying to profit from their internet presence. It's bizarre. The corporate America has taken over the Google YouTube network. Yeah, I can't do that. Anyway, can you talk about how YouTube has gone out of control with the abuse of fair use? Of course I can, Beekman. I'm a victim of it right now. We've had numerous calls into our... I mean, they email us frequently when we have a monetization issue. Like that music that Dupster used in his song, it might be owned by somebody, and we may get a copyright violation link tonight in our email. Possible. Yeah, AdBlock removes YouTube ads for sure. But I'm not here using it on that network yet because I haven't downloaded it on Opera. You have to download it for each browser you use. No, I'm fully aware of his horror biography. He is an Islamic Muslim. Barack Obama has orchestrated a terrible, unbelievable, unparalleled lie. Perpetrated the deception of the ultimate nature. While we're supposedly enemies with Islam or Muslim-led jihadist terrorist groups, our country has been secretly funding these people like the rebels in Syria. And our government doesn't seem to even want to discuss this with the American people. So there's this massive divide with censorship where we can't even talk about that. We could have a moment of silence for Dave's censorship. Thank you. I spritzed my face to wake myself up at this hour to decide whether I'm going to give you an extension on the show. All right, great. I'm glad we established that. Now let's go in and look at the leaked pictures from ISS show the Black Knight UFO satellite very close to a Soyuz spacecraft. Now this is the one thing in conspiracy theories that I cannot account for. Now, being I've said I don't believe in aliens, it is kind of a question mark. How could there possibly been a Black Knight satellite hovering in space prior to mankind sending satellites into the upper atmosphere? And this is something that was out there prior to our launch of the Gemini and the Apollo, the Saturn programs. Let's take a look at this.
And Rick, you know what to do? Yes. Of course, on MCC Go, but
Ночью историк мы знаем, что делать, да? Да.
Very interesting. Yeah, it's supposed to be 1 mile by 5 miles in length. It's a 1 by 5. Yeah. You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension of both sight and sound, of both things and ideas. You've just crossed over into a wondrous land of both that of your imagination and that of a lot of potential question marks. Your journey is ended. Okay, I'm going to take a look at this Black Star thing up close and personal. I'm going to play it in the background if you don't mind. Yeah. I've been searching the past Kagwala abduction, and I can tell you with emphatic certainty that it looks fake. Duh. That was interesting. We were looking at this Pascual abduction, famous alien abduction in Pascuala reinvestigated. This is a very interesting situation. Yeah, the famous alien abduction in Pascuala reinvestigated a cold case. Charles Hickson, the chief claimant in the Pascual, Mississippi UFO abduction case, died of a heart attack on September 9th, 2011 at the age of 80. Until his death, he maintained the truth of his alien encounter, part of the UFO flap of 1973. It's remained after the Barney and Betty Hill case study of 1961. Now, why are there not a lot more abduction stories? Have any of you been abducted? Have you been anally abducted? Any of you? By aliens with long fingers? Have you been laying in bed and felt something squirmy in your, anyone? No. You wish, yeah. So I rest my case. With over 5.3 billion cell phones with cameras in the world, only a couple people have had memories of being anally alien abducted with Vaseline. So, I mean, come on. This alien agenda thing, I mean, we got to lose that. We need to recognize that there's something a little bit more. But, if you want to draw pretty pictures and say aliens have definitely arrived on the planet, I mean, sure, I'll read the story, but it's not going to happen right now, right here. Yeah. Is there any reason for you to believe that aliens are coming to get us? Because I don't believe it. I know. Glowing alien fingers penetrating you. Yeah. The concept sounds like some sort of a homosexual wet dream. Personally, I'm not going to discuss this discussion anymore about aliens, so let's put it to rest, okay? Until we get real solid evidence. Yeah, see, case in point, Meow TV has had a HD camera in his toilet bowl and still never caught an alien on tape. Thank you. Whatever. I mean, the whole thing is so preposterous. So, am I a conspiracy theorist? Hell no. Hell no. Do I believe the government's been putting out false flags recently with Umpqua Community College or the San Bernardino shooting? Hell yes. Do I believe Sandy Hook was a legitimate shooting event in which Adam Lanza, a guy who was built like the waif of a man, who he actually spent all his time on some game, Dance Revolution or something. I mean, he was known as a really peaceful guy. He was a vegan. Anyway, I don't believe that story was exactly like it was described. There's too many open sores in that story. And tonight, later in the evening, we'll be playing a story about that. What really happened at Sandy Hook? Yeah. All right. Tangentialist dribble slurs are intellectual dirty protests. Okay, that's interesting chat. On a chat level, this is about an A-. It's not bad. Fingerprints for food. Now required biometric scanning just to get food in brink of World War III. Hey, that's interesting. Yeah, is this young man, clearly this is not his real face, by the way. Did you have to post a picture of that? We are going to do the Black Knight thing. That's really good. Here's what secretly told us during the Super Bowl is really good too. I'm going to definitely put those two up for first on the list to play. Yeah, we talked about Scalia and how there's absolutely no investigation going on into the death of Justice Scalia. I'm a little bit blown away by the whole thing. It's almost like the elitists are sitting there laughing at us, you know, just kind of like laughing. Yeah, I mean, they make everything seem so obvious just to tell you, hey, you people are powerless. Or I should say, you people are powerless. But I mean, it's really messed up. They think they could get away with anything. And we're the only ones that could possibly stop them. Us, the American voter. Right. Well, Scalia's family didn't want one. Why did Scalia's wife not visit Obama? And why was Obama not at Scalia's funeral? And he wasn't seen golfing either. What's going on with that? Again, you send me another picture? What is this? Okay. Well, the only person that actually visited Obama was the son, who happens to be a military officer required by law to do that. So what is the family afraid to confront Obama on, you know? And why wasn't there an investigation? See, there must be an investigation into the death of any major event, major figure in American politics. I mean, you can't just not have an autopsy. Black Lives Matter. Yes, they do. But what are you saying? I'm pandering to them now? No, I'm not pandering for anyone. Happy Bean is here. Happy Bean loves Doopster. They're a couple. That's sweet. See, you two have hope. Some of you people alone in an apartment right now, there's hope for you guys. You might meet your loved one, your special person. Yeah. I have hope that all of you will find your mate in this world. I know I never did, except when I met Sarah. She's my one and only. High order of demon known as authorities? That's a weird one. This is even more disturbing. Zillfire. Yeah, we'll give that a try. And there's going to be a Fox News rip into the Trump Thursday debate. Should be interesting. You know, I can't get into the debate, as you know, because third parties have been completely segregated from American politics because we're so unfree and undemocratic. But as you know, being I can't get in the debate, I have the luxury of actually communicating with you guys every night. And I think we've had a better conversation than some of the debaters. Oh, sorry. You love Doopster and his man, Doopster, give me another kiss. See, there's two people that love each other. Isn't that beautiful? Now that's just special. Very special. Bin Laden's obituary notice? Really, I didn't know he died. You really believe Osama bin Laden died May 1st, 2011? You're saying that I'm stoned? Oh, come on. I put the sunglasses on at the extension of the show. I don't even have to do the show. I have been segregated. What is this? Bin Laden's obituary notice. Oh, here we go. A funeral notice for Osama bin Laden was published December 26, 2001 in the Egyptian newspaper Al Ward. An English translation is provided below. Anyone fluent in Arabic is invited to verify or correct. Yeah. Yep, he's been dead since then. Yep, I remember reading about this in 2008. I mean, this is really old news, man. Thank you, Scissor Fight, even though it is old news. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Thank you, man. Thank you, man, for that. Okay, so let's just love each other back. We can love one another all night long. We've been lied to about so much. I know. It's so true, man. I'm just freaking out by all the lies myself. Every Conspiracy Monday, it's just like, whoa, man. I even have to have a little freshener here just to spray my face to feel normal. It feels so good. You know, I take this on road trips to stay awake. You don't want to be finding yourself bumping against the guardrails to catch a little bit of sleep. Play this song. Okay, let's do it.
We can't stop, we can't stop, we can't stop, we can't stop, and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop, we can't stop, we can't stop.
So let's be clear. In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim, America's Third Party.
Sponheim for president.
Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop.
First we hit 'em low, then we hit 'em high. Underrated, but we make it to the finish line. Rhymes designed to combine and intertwine. Spring to the summer, fall, even winter time. Beats banging harder, been head on collisions. We make incisions with precision and quick decisions. Causing double visions if you ain't up to speed. You need to speed it up, partner. Piano read.
We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, and we won't stop.
In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim, America's Third Party.
All right, yeah. Ooh. Okay, we've been really nice to Hillary tonight. We should probably give her a one over. Hillary represents the power elite. She is ostensibly the richest of the candidates, even though Donald says he's got $10 billion. He's not putting more than $1 billion into it. Hillary's got $2.3 billion in money that she may have received from super PACs connected to various sources outside of our country. And because election law doesn't seem to be that enforced in America, she's getting away with it. And she's managed to avoid any serious controversy on Benghazi. Even recently, the GOP just announced they weren't going to pursue charges against the 22 top secret documents that were released to her email servers, private email servers. They weren't going to prosecute. So why is the GOP bending down every time? They didn't pursue a case against Obama's citizenship. They're not willing to pursue Hillary's Benghazi. Because the two parties are working together. That's why. They're in it together. She has $2.3 billion in her war chest, regardless of her personal income. And Donald won't release his tax returns. And I don't think anyone's ever told him that if he does win, or if Hillary wins, she has to put all of her personal finances in a public trust. I don't think they know that. You know, evaluated and estimated is not even a proper term unless you can provide me a link verifying his net worth at $10 billion. I'm going to go with Gawker. They believe that they've scratched up about $4 billion in his net worth, if they can even quantify that. So unless you can give me a legitimate, scientifically studied financial review of this guy, good luck. Yeah. Why is it Forbes didn't even include him in the top 500 billionaires about 5 years ago? Tell me that. Thank you. U.S. seeks Hollywood for more terrorist propaganda and manipulation. Really? See, it just continues to go. They keep pushing for war. They use the Democrats to fear ISIS. They use the Republicans to fear ISIS. Either way, they've got us hook, line, and sinker. Miss Hatsuni says, no, they're not good candidates, Miss Hatsuni. I'm saying we've got no choice here. And why is it every election it's always the lesser of two evils? What is wrong with you people? Don't you realize this country is completely shut down, its political system? It's owned. What the hell? There's no slander. I'm questioning his $10 billion net worth. That's all I'm at. I'm merely saying, hey, seriously, if you got $10 billion, show it to the American people. Let's see it. Let's see the financial report. All I'm asking him to do is substantiate it. Thank you. I'm not slandering anybody. God. What am I, slandering the police department in Texas near the Cibola Creek Lodge where Justice Scalia died? Am I slandering them by simply asking for an autopsy? We stupid, Dave. Okay. That's established. We can move on. Yeah. I've decided I'm going to have to clean this touchscreen. It's getting full of spit from my spitting at the screen. Not to mention my spray. This stuff is concentrated fruit enzyme right here. It's a product called My Shell. Yeah. Somebody gave this to me for Christmas one time, and I was like, man, this is great. You take it on road trips. It's fantastic. Rehydrates your skin. Helps reduce the radiation that's glowing on your face. When you go to the bathroom and you turn off the lights, have you noticed how you glow? You don't do that, do you? I'm not way behind on Hillary's corrupt money network, mister. I know that the Clinton Initiative has been doing a lot of dealings with companies and business with Russia, ironically, on a uranium deal. So, I mean, whatever the communist Marxist agenda going on there with the Hillary Clinton camp, all I can tell you is if you dig deep, you come up with nothing. Do you know that Hillary Clinton, or rather, do you know that Bill Clinton's files on Whitewater and Hillary's files in Whitewater went down in the Oklahoma City bombing? Do you know that? Remember Ken Starr and the $60 million we spent to research Whitewater? Never turned into anything against the Clintons? Very interesting. All of their documentation was in the building. And the very core of the explosion, the Oklahoma City bombing, took out the core of all of that information. So you can't dig anything up on the Clintons. There's nothing to be... Most of it's been buried in mysterious dead people and various other things. They cover their tracks pretty well, I'll tell you. She's one of the most powerful politicians this country's ever seen, and you don't know it. So if you think that Trump, you guys who support Trump, has what it takes to take Hillary down, He doesn't. Simply because he can't pull enough of the left toward him. He is too right-wing. He is too far to the extreme level of conservatism. And that's a huge barrier to Trump beating Hillary. Big time. Me, on the other hand, I appeal to both the left and the right and can galvanize the country and unite the nation under the simple banner of a centrist ideology, finding common ground between fiscal conservatives and social liberals. That's what I'm shooting for. But I don't have any mainstream media attention, so it's impossible for me to predict the outcome if I do. All right, this has been great fun. Had a good time with the Doopster conversation. That was fun. We could easily go into some deep discussion of false flag events, but the nice thing about talking about Conspiracy Monday, we don't have to talk about 9/11 because tomorrow night is Truth Tuesday, and we can talk about 9/11 then. And we don't really need to do the false flag discussion because, frankly, there's very little evidence that any of these events actually occurred. So we have nothing to talk about. There's no forensic evidence. There's no video evidence. There's just hearsay and a lot of covered up media stories that kind of push ideas that, oh, you got to fear terrorism, otherwise we're not going to be prepared. So and then this gun control push that Obama and Hillary Clinton have been on for some time, which is impossible. You can't issue gun control in a country dedicated to the Second Amendment. Now today, Justice Thomas actually spoke up for the first time in about 12 years. Clarence Thomas has been known to not say anything, never question any witnesses during the debate that they have at the Supreme Court level. But Thomas has finally stepped up. He's starting to ask questions, especially in favor of gun rights. So that's interesting. Yeah, he's kind of carrying the torch for the missing Justice Scalia. I don't know. He must have really liked that guy. I don't know. There must have been some sort of a bond between Scalia and Thomas. The Anita Hill thing, of course, plagued Clarence Thomas when he was running, when he was seeking the nomination. She claimed that he had said that there was pubic hair on the RC Cola, and that he talked about himself being long dong silver. I mean, that never ever stopped his acceptance as the nomination. So now he's stepping it up. Now he's like kind of gaining ground. I like that. All right, this is obviously not working. Great. Settle down. Thank you. You guys settle down. I don't believe the reverse speech actually is necessarily a happenstance. I mean, when you hear weird things in reverse speech, like with the Beatles, like number nine, I know. I just want to say this. If there is some truth to it, the audio engineers of the 1960s that created the Beatles were some of the best in the world. And when you listen to some of the albums that they created, you hear reverse speech patterns that are absolutely bizarre. I mean, especially in reference to the missing Paul McCartney. The one when they claimed that he died in 1966, February 9th. Whether he did or not, I believe that he did die then. But whether you want to believe that or not, they did leave clues through reverse engineered speech patterns. What do I think about the Illuminati? What do I think about secret cabal, shadow government? That's the meat and potatoes of Conspiracy Monday. And unfortunately, I'm not allowed to talk about that. It's top secret. I'm kidding. We can talk about anything you want. Yeah, there was a lot of reverse speech patterns in this movie, The Winged Beetle. No, I don't want to play it for you. It's too loud. Okay. Diligent Dave, there you go. I never stopped trying, I'll tell you that. I'm not giving up on this country. Just because you guys resigned to being apathetic, I haven't stopped. Don't vote for Trump, folks. You're wasting your vote. You might as well just write my name in. Alrighty, so you've got a picture of a chimp you sent me. That's nice. Oh, the 12 days of high-pressure blockade. Phased array radar generates a right-angle front. Another good description. I didn't play that last night, or Saturday night, so thank you for bringing that in, Scissor Fight. Appreciate it. Mucho apreciado. See, on Miss Hatsumi, you have a banana picture you want to share? Well, running a chat for 7,000 plus hours talking to the American people in chat is a big statement, don't you think? How many people have done 7,000 plus hours of nonstop communication with the American people? That alone should give me some credit in your eyes, especially how consistent I am. You know, I believe electronic vocal impressions could be made by otherworldly possible forces. And just because I don't believe in aliens doesn't mean I'm not willing to sign the full disclosure. I am. The Stephen Greer SETI project, the full disclosure agreement, I will definitely disclose whether aliens exist when I become president. For sure. Guaranteed. But I have to touch them. So instead of Touched by an Angel, the new show would be called Touched by an Alien. And I'll feature live encounters with the alien. Possibly, playing, I don't know, tic-tac-toe, or we could do some sort of banana disclosure. There you go. Oh, this is your favorite Japanese group. Miss Hatsune is bringing us a little taste of Japan here, called Little Apple. Okay. Are these transgenders, Miss Hatsune? Okay. I didn't know. Well, I love the fact that they're so colorful. All these videos in Japan are colorful. You know, isn't that wonderful? Hello from Japan. Good evening. Nice to see you're in. As you know, I'm a big hit in Japan. I know. I've heard a lot of good things about my presence there. You were getting aroused? So are these videos designed to be sexually arousing or visually exciting? You're not Japanese? Oh, here I thought you were Japanese all these years, Miss Hatsune. I'm so sorry. What country are you from? Oh, this is Chinese. Oh, so sorry. I didn't mean to denigrate your family. Clearly it's Chinese. You're right. Okay. 3 minutes and counting. I have to remain fresh for show. Yeah. Okay. I met a guy in college that loved just Japanese women, and he knew that the cultural barrier was huge. This is Japanese. Okay, thank you. Pon. Great. Oh, come on. That's very prejudicial, 8806. Ah, commercial. How very American. You'd give happy ending, I'm sure, yes. Well, this has been an extension of the extension, so I feel like I'm about ready to get flaccid here talking to you. Okay, apparently this is like a schoolgirl fantasy or something from Japan. Okay. Well, you know, whatever, floats your boat. When you got to get through the terrible radiation days of Fukushima, I mean, you got to divert your attention, yeah. I don't think we've ever played any Chinese versus Japanese videos. All right, this is great. Just watch it? Well, of course I'll watch it, but I can't watch it without committing a copyright violation. I told you that. I thought we explained all this to you earlier. Okay, that wraps that up. Well, this has been a great show insofar as we got to chat. We broke the ice for tomorrow, Truth Tuesday, where I dress in all white to embody the truth, justice on the American way. All right, I'm going to sign off, folks, because this is a serious, excuse me, U.S. government seeks Hollywood for more terrorist war propaganda manipulation. We'll go to that right now. Thank you. Anyway, have a good evening, everyone. Sleep well. We'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll be up till 2 in the morning watching videos with you so we can chit-chat in literary form. Take care. Arigato.